Unwithering Sky, man, that's really making the rounds, BJ. It's almost like a literary equivalent of the wave at a football.
Unwithering Flower. The Unwithering Flower.
Isn't that what I said?
You said Sky, I believe.
Unwithering Flower. That's what I meant. Yeah. It's like everybody's reading it like it's the wave in a football stadium now. You know, it's just everybody's on top of it. Are you pretty happy with the reception you've gotten?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised actually. I guess because that was the first one I put out. Yeah, I'm really happy with the feedback I've been getting and the reviews that are coming in. I'm glad people are enjoying it. And thanks for having me on the show, by the way.
Hi, BJ. I'm glad to finally get to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for setting it up.
My pleasure.
Put the BJ's book on the screen, Jeremy. Jeremy? Did he drop out?
No, I think he's maybe.
Oh, there he is.
I'm looking it up though.
I got to him.
I loved the Unwithering Flower. I actually just started Mushroom King today, so I don't have too much of an opinion on that yet, other than that it's atmospheric. But of Unwithering Flower and Our Lady of the Scythe, boy, it's like they both have some very interesting shared vibrations across both works. I can see kind of why you released them at the same time. Go on.
Yeah, most of the stuff I do is kind of in a shared universe. So yeah, there's connections between all of it, really.
Yeah.
It looks like a master plan, but I guess it's really that I'm too lazy to do world building over and over again. So I just create the same world.
That's cool. That's cool. How long have you been writing stories set in the Aeon of Chaos universe?
About 6 years, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right on. Are like all of like now I'll try to be vague here. A little birdie has told me that you have quite a few novels just on the shelf, and I think you have even told me that. Are they like all Aeon of Chaos, or mostly, or are they just like dispersed across a bunch of things?
They're mostly Aeon of Chaos. I started writing about 6 years ago, sort of just as a hobby, because I'd always wanted to write a novel and see how it went. I had done some writing earlier in my life, but I'd just never really had enough inspiration at the time, even though I was encouraged to write by people. So when I did come back to writing and actually wrote a book, I found that I really enjoyed it and had more and more ideas. So I just kept writing and writing. I didn't really consider publishing for a while. And now I'm at the publishing stage. So yeah, there's quite a stack. The first, like, I don't know, the first half a dozen, or maybe even the first dozen need to be rewritten. But I feel like I sort of hit my stride around 2017. Most of the stuff I've done since then, I'm pretty happy with, and ready to start rolling that out.
That's really cool. About how many novels in would you say?
Oh, 20 something, I think. I've lost count. Yeah, and then there's novellas and short stories too. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
That's so important for people to talk about, because I think like a lot of us like to have the mystique of having just come out of the womb writing perfect novels that we're happy with all the time, always. But man, it really does. I think it really takes a lot more work than a lot.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's like any complex skill. Like it takes thousands of hours to get good at it, and there's so many elements of it to master. So I think my first book was just a disaster as far as I'm concerned. And I remember I got a friend who was an editor to look at it, and she was really nice because she didn't trash it completely. And then I reread it a couple of years later, and I was like, oh my God, this is rubbish. It needs to be edited with a chainsaw and a bazooka. But she was being nice. So
yeah, it's nice to have a supportive person, and then it's nice to have like a critical person. I'm forever haunted by a conversation I had with a friend in a garage about my first novel, where she was like, no, this part really isn't working for me, and this and that. And I was like, Oh, Jesus Christ. Because she was the only person who had been honest with me. Honesty is so important to young writers. Do you find that you prefer writing short works like novellas, or do you prefer writing longer works like Our Lady?
I think I'm kind of naturally gravitate towards writing novels. I just tend to, yeah, that the no that the novel structure kind of is my intuitive thing to go to. But I mean, I enjoy writing short stories and novellas as well. I know that people really, at the moment, it seems like novellas and short stories are really popular. I guess because people maybe don't have enough time to read, or they like to like hit their Goodreads targets or something, and then they can cheat by reading novellas. So yeah, I'm kind of gonna focus mostly on releasing novellas this year, I think, and just release a couple of novels.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah, I've talked a little bit about how I feel like it's more just Kindle Unlimited encourages writers to just from a fiscal standpoint kind of take a Netflix-like structure of rapid release and binge reading type books to really get their names out there. And that was what was interesting to me too, because I felt like you were really disciplined to release to like structure the release of these 3 titles all within kind of the same month. Like how long out have you been planning this? Because I think you showed me actually the art for The Unwithering Flower quite a while before it came out, like a month or 2. So what was the plan here?
Oh, I think I started planning about a year in advance for this
Oh, wow.
specific. Yeah, and I researched for a while. I guess I come from a kind of a research background, so I tend to over-research stuff. Even though I try not to. I researched, publishing and everything for a while, and I just over time, the more I looked into it, the more I really gravitated towards indie publishing. So that's the way I decided to go. Yeah.
That's cool. Did you so let's see. I guess let me talk about, because now Jeremy, have you read any of Our Lady of the Scythe yet?
No, just Unwithering Flower, and I got like a few pages into Court of the Mushroom King.
What did you think of Unwithering Flower? We talked about it a little bit.
We did last week, and I thought I liked how the main character, the swashbuckling merchant or whatever, was giving real common sense counsel to this witch. Basically, she thought she was going to make a pretty penny by she was going to make some serious coinage just from telling people whether they had the plague or not, and he kind of put some common sense in her head by saying, they're going to know if they already have the plague, and so basically you're just going to be positively reinforcing them. That's not going to make you a lot of money, and so eventually they come to this business agreement, where she's going to keep the dead in just suspended animation animate enough that they can provide pleasure to clients, right? Am I wrong?
No, yeah.
So, yeah, I liked the how he was able to give an quite out there scenario a lot of verisimilitude, to kind of keep it in standing with how it would be in the real world if such an act of that kind of necromancy did exist in a more dramatic form like that, so yeah, I liked what I've read. So
it was a fun cross section of like these magical aspects and like practical application of how, like you said, Jeremy, how it would be then exploited and used for things like creating undead prostitutes who you don't have to pay or worry about in any way.
Yeah, I tried to write the most realistic story about zombie prostitutes that I could.
So, Jeremy, would you be a customer?
Remember, when their nose is running, it doesn't mean they're sick. It just means they're full.
I wouldn't be a customer of the living ones.
What's that?
I wouldn't be a customer of the living ones, much less the dead.
Okay.
You
What
gotta
about the
support
rubber
your local
ones, like the
business.
plastic ones,
Well,
like
okay, wait,
robots?
what, Regina?
Robots.
I said you gotta support your local businesses, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's
What
true.
is this about robots, Gregor?
Yeah, would you frequent the robot brothels?
No, no.
No. Okay.
No, it's like no.
No,
I don't know. Keep an
I
open
don't
mind.
even pleasure myself anymore. So yeah, I'm all good. So.
All right. On this week's episode of Therapy with Dr. Freud. Okay, so I really love like the it seems to me like in the first two things that I've read here, between The Unwithering Flower and Our Lady of the Scythe, there is like a very specific juxtaposition you're exploring of like fantasy and traditional tropes. Like God, I loved Our Lady of the Scythe a lot. Actually, like, what can you just talk, I guess, a little bit about your inspiration for that one and kind of like what you wanted to do?
Yeah, sure. So with that one, I think the main inspiration came from erotic grotesque manga.
Oh, okay.
Or the primary inspiration. So, there are always these stuff like Legend of the Overfiend and so on, which is always about some guy, some boy in high school, and he's going through puberty and he discovers he has some sort of like demonic lineage, and he turns into this gigantic monster that goes around sort of raping women to death and turning into some sort of gigantic beast. And then I just thought, well, I'd gender swap that and have some fun with it. But then all kinds of other stuff came into it as well. Like I decided to, I guess, do a really sort of violent, horrific, sexually explicit sort of take on, like one of those paranormal boarding school novels that seem to be quite popular, which I admittedly haven't read and only am vaguely aware of. Yeah, and then I sort of dragged in all the mythology I had from the Aeon of Chaos, and I sort of made Our Lady of the Scythe the prequel to that. So in the Aeon of Chaos, it's basically set after all the gods have been exterminated, and a kind of, an age of sort of freedom and terror has been created. And so this is before that, when the gods are still around. Yeah, and then obviously it stars the demons that are way more fun and interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I really I thought it was very fun and very just it reminded me, well, it was funny that you referenced Breakfast Club at one point, because I was thinking during that specific chapter, I was like, oh, now it's getting a little Breakfast Clubby.
Yeah.
It was specifically referenced in the text, and I was like, well, he knows his audience, so that's a good thing. But I really thought it was very fun and refreshing. So I guess a little quick synopsis for people who haven't read the book in a non-spoilery way. Our main character, Raza, is a young lady with a very peculiar problem, where whenever she tries to have sex with a boy, she turns into a giant demon with like 4 breasts that are like, wolf mouths and, all these horrible demonic qualities, and she ends up biting off his head and killing him. And so this happens twice, and she ends up finding out a little bit about her lineage, and that this is a natural thing that all partial demon young ladies go through. And she gets sent to then a boarding school in like this dimensional nexus, I guess. And adventures ensue from there, and it's got some really interesting stuff. Like, parts of it reminded me of Battle Royale. There was like a section that reminded me a little bit of like a subversion of Twilight. Like, you really managed to hit like all of the teenage sort of, or high school tropey books. Are you going to turn this into a specific series? Like, you really should do at least one sequel, I think.
Well, thanks for that synopsis. That was actually like, oh, that was cooler than what I could have come up with off the cuff. It would have taken me a few hours to write that. Yeah, maybe I've actually got like vague plans for a sequel. I guess if people like it enough, I'll write it.
Good.
For
Yeah, you
sure.
should.
Yeah. where it would probably be set at college, so it would go from high school to college.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really I thought it was a really fun and really interesting book. And the thing is that so I too I'm in an interesting position where I have not read a high school a paranormal boarding school novel, but I had to ghostwrite one once in like 2015. So I'm vaguely familiar with the genre, and then also I wrote a couple of years ago, the first erotica series I published under the Regina Watts name was Be My Bully. And I really liked Our Lady of the Scythe because it has some very strange parallels with Be My Bully in like a magical sense. And obviously, like in the heart of Our Lady of the Scythe, there's kind of a thelemic theme. So are you a Thelemite? Have you studied Thelema? You're obviously a student of the occult. But like I guess Thelema specifically seems to play a part in Our Lady of the Scythe. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I've always been interested in the occult and studied it to some extent. I really like, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Although I think, as I point out in the book, Crowley sort of lifted that from Rabelais. So I think it's in Gargantua or Pantagruel where either Gargantua or Pantagruel, he creates, the Abbey of Thelema, where all these male and female monks come to practice, and they essentially have no rules. So unlike at a normal monastery where their entire life is governed by this sort of regimented lifestyle, in the Abbey of Thelema there are no rules whatsoever, and the only rule is do what thou wilt. And the idea is that everyone at the Abbey is so inherently virtuous, or just so developed and noble as human beings that they don't need rules. They could just do whatever they want, and it'll all turn out perfectly anyway. Which I guess is kind of an elitist concept. And then you had Crowley took that and turned it into, I guess, something more egoistic, I guess you'd say. But yeah, I've definitely always been fascinated by Crowley and his life. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
He lived quite a life. I would dare call it a train wreck of a life.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how he said, I think he said that he'd made a pact. I think he made a pact with a supernatural being that he would gain absolute wisdom in exchange for all his worldly wealth. And then like decades later, he was like, it came true because now I'm broke and I'm the head of my own religion. It's like, yeah, but you just recklessly spent your entire inheritance for like 30 years on smack. And so that's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the thing with magic is like, is it a top-down thing or a bottom-up thing, or does it just meet in the middle? And that's a phrase that only people who study the occult will even understand what I'm talking about.
I was just thinking, if your goal is to be broke, that's a pretty easy goal to hit.
Oh,
yeah, it's not much of a challenge. You just keep accidentally making money. Shit, I won the lottery again.
Oh no.
And it's ruined.
I gotta stop buying these tickets in a misguided attempt to waste my inheritance.
All my rich relatives just keep dying. It won't stop.
So frustrating. I just hate it when that happens.
The feedback's gone now. Whatever you did, Ann, I think it's gone.
All right. Okay. Good.
So,
yeah, that's...
obviously to have such a library of titles that are both, in the process of being published and not published yet, you have clearly, do you write every day or do you just try to, or what's your schedule?
It depends if I have time. So I have a day job now, so that kind of gets in the way. But yeah, I try to write, whenever I get a chance.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and
Go on.
Oh no, that's pretty much it about my writing schedule. I try to write as fast as I can. I kind of time myself and try and sort of push to get more word count out. It's fun to do that, I think.
About how many words on average would you say you write when you sit down?
I'm usually happy with like 1,000 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. Who are you reading right now? Do you have any readers that you like to write or read, excuse me, when you're trying to write and you just like or tinkering with things?
Oh, who am I reading at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, the book I'm reading at the moment is it's a collection of short stories called Throne of Bones by Brian McNaughton.
Oh,
It's
okay.
kind of obscure, so it's
That book kicks ass. I was
yeah,
just
it
talking about it
does.
last week.
Yeah, I read that years ago. I found it quite good.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I'd never heard of it up until quite recently, and it's really kind of like baroque, decadent, depraved, dark fantasy of a sort that doesn't really exist that much from what I can tell. So
Right.
really like a lot sort of like Clark Ashton Smith and the darker stuff of Robert E. Howard. And obviously the Throne of Bones is all about ghouls and sex in graveyards and mausoleums and all this kind
Yeah.
of really putrid, just bizarre stuff.
Yeah, that's one of my
It's
favorite
just
books of all time. That's a
yeah,
fantastic book.
it's completely blowing me away at the
Throne of
moment.
Yeah.
Bones.
The audio book's excellent too, so you might want to pick that up.
Throne of
Oh
Bones.
yeah,
You talking about Throne of Bones?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so interesting because right before I came on the show, Simon McCarty just told me that he's listening to the audiobook version of Throne of Bones. So, well, God, I have to add it to my read
Yeah,
list
it's an
now.
excellent book. I mean, the guy, explores the mythology of the ghoul to such a degree. I just love it when people just like get a concept and they just blow it up, right? They just explore every nook and cranny of a concept and really explore it, right? And he does a fantastic job. And the audio book really gets across the dark humor in the text. It's really excellent. So definitely pick that up.
Okay, I will. I will use my
Yeah.
Audible credit for that.
The
Excellent.
world building is just incredible. It's it's
Oh
really
yeah,
something.
it's fantastic. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
That's so interesting. So, do you read mostly fantasy, BJ?
Oh, I read all kinds of stuff. It's really all over the place. Actually, I got a pretty long-lasting interest in sort of ancient and medieval literature. So I've read, just a lot of stuff all over the place, like, classical authors like Ovid and Homer, and I read Arthurian stuff, like Chrétien de Troyes, Geoffrey of Monmouth. I've read loads of I'm really into Norse mythology, so like the Eddas, the Volsung saga, Beowulf.
So you have to give me some Arthurian recommendations. I'm reading. I don't know how you pronounce it really. Le Morte d'Arthur at present, right? But is there something better you think I should be reading?
I guess one of the earlier ones is Chrétien de Troyes. I'm probably mangling that because it's French and I can't pronounce
Right.
French. Yeah. And then you've got the Wolfram von Essenbach sort of followed on from him and wrote a really long Parsifal version of Parsifal. You've got Beryl's version of Tristan, which I think is quite good.
Okay.
And there's Gottfried von Strasbourg did a version of Tristan as well, which was longer and sort of more ornate.
Right.
The earliest stuff is in the sort of the history of Britain, or I guess the pseudo history of Britain by Geoffrey of Monmouth, which is just this crazy, mostly sort of made up history of Britain where, Brutus is a Trojan who colonizes the British Isles and murders all the giants that live there.
Yeah.
And then you've
I've
just
heard of
got
that.
all kinds of really weird stuff going on as well.
No, you've read that as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been fascinated by all that stuff lately for some reason. I have no idea exactly why, but I've been so yeah. I know
it's
I know
really
some
cool.
of these works. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the Charlemagne stuff is kind of similar but different. Actually, one of the there's Orlando Furioso by Ariosto, which is a Renaissance text, and it's a poem, an epic poem, and it's just completely crazy, kind of just like gonzo camp sort of insanity. Like, I mean, there's a part where Orlando gets spurned by the woman he's in love with, and he goes completely insane. And I think he wears all black clothes. or like he just runs off into the woods and just like lives as this like berserker sort of like bestial creature, and he runs around sort of like, and he has super strength. He's kind of like a, you know, like a Renaissance superhero. He can literally like tear people limb from limb. So he's like running around the countryside with like corpses sort of like just dragging behind him. And then like the only way he manages to sort of like regain his sanity is he has to fly to the moon, where his sanity is like in a bottle and he has to drink it, from what I remember. But it's stuff like that. And it's,
what is this?
Orlando Furioso by Ariosto.
Wow. Ann dropped out. I hope
yeah.
Hope be back. But Orlando Furioso, he flies to the moon to recharge, to replenish himself.
to regain his lost sanity. To regain his wit. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was part of like the Penguin literature canon, that title. That sounds pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I really like a lot of the old stuff because it has this kind of has this really condensed quality to it.
Are you influenced by Hindu mythology and theology as well? I felt like when I was reading parts of Our Lady that there was a lot of like myths about Durga and Pavarti. Certainly the artwork that you find from that religion, I felt like really kind of came out of the text at me when I was reading.
Yeah, totally. A lot of the demons and the demon mythology from Aeon of the Chaos and from Our Lady of the Scythe is influenced by Hindu mythology and epics like like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, and also the art and the iconography as well.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I pretty much just obsessed with like world mythology and folklore, and I've kind of just been poring over it.
That's fair.
For a long time.
So what time frame do these books, like, I mean, I know it's a different world, a different universe, but like what's the technological advancement level in the universes we're talking about? Or the universe you've created?
Oh, in the Aeon of Chaos, it's sort of a medieval fantasy setting, but the level of technology varies from continent to continent.
Okay.
And because I didn't want to create my own map, because I'm not going to delude myself into thinking that I can do that. I just used the map of Earth and I reversed the east-west axis. So it's just like our world, but backwards.
Okay. And so what's the highest technological level in as far as in the books that have been published?
Probably flushing toilets.
Okay.
But it's mostly pretty medieval.
Okay. All right. I'm just curious.
Yeah, cool.
Flushing toilets.
And Our Lady of the
Scythe
is just considered contemporary. It's got the contemporary level of yeah. Although most of it is set at the school, which is in an interdimensional kind of place.
But it still takes place in the same universe, right?
One's kind of post-apocalypse and one's pre-apocalypse. So
okay.
Yeah.
So pre-apocalypse is more of like a modern era. Yeah,
pre-apocalypse is basically now. And the Aeon of Chaos is the imagined future.
Okay, so it's somewhat like I don't know, like a Gene Wolfe Earth series kind of.
Yes, you like.
Yeah,
Gene
I guess
Wolfe,
you could say that. Yeah.
I love Gene Wolfe. Oh my god.
I mean, I like him all right. I mean, I've only read one of his books, and it's been a long time ago. But it had a similar concept. I'm not saying you're in any way ripping off, but that's like the type of thing, right? There was like the modern world, and then it fell, and then the kind of a fantasy world kind of came. It's kind of like Thundar the Barbarian. You know
I'm not familiar with Thundar.
Is anybody on this show familiar with Thundar the Barbarian?
I remember the cartoon. Yeah,
it was a cartoon. It was a Saturday morning cartoon, but I'm not trying to be disparaging, but the cartoon is similar type of situation. It's a relatively common trope, right? That throughout the course of a fantasy novel, they discover that they're living in a post-apocalyptic world, and they didn't know it. It's like our world, but it's post-apocalyptic, right? But I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to be disparaging, but there's one guy that really did it. I'm trying to remember his name. But Vance, yeah,
Tales of Dying
Vance.
Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, Dying Earth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like he was like the big time guy that fleshed out that idea, right? And that's where Thundar the Barbarian totally ripped off that idea, right? I mean, you know what I mean. So and also D&D has a lot of Vancian type of tropes in it, like especially like the memorizing of spells and things
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
You know,
Fancy
like,
and magic.
yeah. So I just bought the Unwithering Flower, so I'm looking forward to reading that. It looks
Oh,
like a pretty
awesome.
good
Yeah, I
one.
hope you enjoy it.
I'd say I will, based on what I've heard thus far.
You'll definitely enjoy it. Greater.
What-
Yeah. Speaking of D&D, actually, though, like, have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons? Are you influenced at all by that?
Yeah, I played Dungeons and Dragons in high school, so yeah, a lot of the time the dungeon master was stoned. So, but I guess that's common. Yeah, that's definitely an influence, I guess, for sure.
So they were right, like you started playing D&D,
That's
then you got
true.
into Aleister Crowley, right? And
Well,
I
but no,
mean,
here's the thing. I was thinking about this today, Gregor. Thank you. Because it's like, the thing is, the reason why Dungeons and Dragons is an interesting gateway to the occult, my grandmother was right, is that it teaches you how to gamify your personality and your conscious perception. And that's what magic with a K is. It's a form of, like, basically, breaking down and reprogramming, metaprogramming, as John C. Lilly called it, your consciousness. So it's like, it's very much, I totally get how it's a gateway to the occult now.
So
I
wait,
mean,
John C. Lilly was an occultist? I didn't realize that.
he believed that all coincidences are controlled by Echo, the Earth Coincidence Control Office.
Yeah, I mean, I read The Scientist, but I don't remember him saying anything specifically about occult
Well,
practices. But I read that on a plane, and
I
I'm
wouldn't.
nervous on planes. So
Yeah,
maybe.
I feel that. I fucking hate planes.
So, but I mean, was he like a ceremonial magician type
No,
guy?
I wouldn't. I don't think he was necessarily that. But at the same time, I would argue that his sensory deprivation tanks were a form of occult ritual, just like kind of au naturel. They just
Well,
kind of.
yeah, I mean, I think he's cult adjacent, right? I mean, I don't
Yeah, that's
know.
okay.
I'd never heard anything that maybe he was actually like a practitioner of ceremonial magic.
No, but the thing is that I do feel like the occult is a spectrum, a kind of a thing, and I think it's fair to call him occult adjacent, but I think that there are also kind of occult scientists. So I don't know. I feel like it all kind of, after a certain point of consciousness expansion, the lines become very blurry, I feel like. So I personally would call John C. Lilly both a scientist and a mystic or an occultist.
Well, I would definitely say you could say he's kind of like a mystic. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff that's going on in the Scientist, where he's in the deprivation tank talking to these disembodied entities or whatnot. It certainly falls into something that sounds like a mystical experience. Yeah.
I think mysticism is probably a fair halfway point. It kind of also encompasses.
Yeah, I mean, just like when you said the occult, I was thinking more of like Aleister Crowley, ceremonial magic, that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's probably, if we're being like really stringent about our terminology, I probably wouldn't necessarily call him an occultist specifically. So yeah, that's probably a fair point. But
so have you read anything by this Skinner guy, Dr. Skinner, BJ Swann?
I checked him out after our last conversation, and I haven't read anything by him, but I'm very interested. I really have to read him, and I still actually haven't read anything by Colin Wilson, who I have 2 of his books on my bookshelf.
Yeah, I've not read it.
I remember him. He's the true crime occultist, right?
Yeah,
I mean, isn't he the space vampires dude with the
mind
life
parasite?
force?
Is that him?
The mind parasites.
Yeah,
right?
life force movies based on one of his books. The space vampires.
And
that
also
wonderful naked woman that's walking around sucking men dry.
Wow, no shit.
Personality
Wow,
surgeon.
look at
He
Oh,
also
that movie was
I know.
like really poorly edited.
that.
Sorry, I didn't make it through that movie.
I love it. Well, I
I've-
only like one part of it.
I have two of Colin Wilson's book too. One's The Occult, and the other's called The Outsider.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got like the occult, and then he's got the occult something. It's like the same thing, but more, you know. But I didn't know about the other stuff.
So you mentioned in your your not your bibliography but your author bio, the Aeon of Chaos, and I know that Regina brought that up earlier, but it's described as a hyper reality of fairy tale madness where anything can happen. You notice how many authors are now using paracosms, which is what that's called, to kind of tie their universes in together. I think it's the way it should be. I think every author should come with their own Castle Rock, where everything can kind of unite in a way that makes sense on multiple levels. But yeah, you could make a whole story cycle out of that.
Have you heard the term paracosm before, BJ?
I haven't actually.
I've not heard that either, and this is
Trying to
something that Jeremy's been
intuitively
harping on.
trying to intuitively figure out what it means, but I
I
might
think
be
that
wrong.
Ben brought it up on here, and it made me curious enough to look into it because he was pointing out something that I carry around with me in my own life, in my head. That could be qualified as a paracosm. It's a detailed imaginary world thought generally to originate in childhood and to have one or numerous creators. The creator of a paracosm has a complex and deeply felt relationship with this subjective universe, which may incorporate real world or imaginary characters and conventions. I think the Castle Rock by in Stephen King's stuff would apply as that, and the
Well, it
Aeon.
definitely includes your vanities thing that you have, that mental
Right.
illness thing. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, and you're batting 3, but that's a lot less than usual. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, based on that definition, I would definitely say Aeon of Chaos is a paracosm for sure.
Yeah. So when did you come up? Where did you hear this? Because this is the first time I've heard you use this phrase, Jeremy, but not the first time that you've talked and just went nuts about this multiverse thing, right?
because
when did
Ben
this?
brought it up.
Ben brought it up.
Ben used that term paracosm to reference it one time when I was talking about it.
Okay.
And, yeah, somebody wrote.
I like it. I like the term paracosm.
I do too. It rolls off the tongue nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
Well, explain a little more about the Aeon. Oh, sorry, Ann. Just so we can get.
More about the Aeon of Chaos?
Yeah.
Did you say? Yeah, sure. So I guess I wanted to create sort of my own mythos because I was always really into mythology and folklore. And I thought, and I'd studied a lot of types of world mythology. And usually the one thing they all have in common is it's usually a story of order defeating chaos or order being carved out of chaos. So I guess when you've got say the Babylonian mythology, like the Enuma Elish, you've got chaos embodied by Tiamat and Apsu, and they get slain and torn to bits by Marduk, who's a culture god who represents order. And then Marduk creates humans and human civilization and language and laws, and everything gets stratified.
And black metal.
Yeah, and all most other mythologies are like that. Like Hindu mythology, you've got the gods representing order, like extreme order. It's very ordered, and they're always defeating the demons who represent chaos and carnality and disorder. And you've got the classical myths where you've got like the Olympian gods defeating these chthonic, chaotic creatures like the giants and Typhon, who comes out of the earth. So it's almost always that story of order supplanting some kind of primordial chaos. And I wanted to do it backwards, where you had chaos supplanting order. So I decided to do the Aeon of Chaos, where the gods have all been exterminated and no one's really in charge of the universe. I mean, I guess technically the demons have killed the gods, so they sort of rule the universe, but they're too disorganized and distracted to really take charge of anything. So yeah, everything's just kind of spinning along without any overall guidance whatsoever. So I guess you could say is like our world. objectively speaking.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then into that setting, I pretty much just put anything that I'm interested in. Yeah, anything that I'm inspired by, I'll try and do an Aeon of Chaos version. So the Unwithering Flower is largely inspired by the Arabian Nights.
Yes.
And yeah, it's the Arabian Nights plus zombie prostitutes. And the hero, Nasser the Slaver, is just, I mean, he's inspired by Sinbad the Sailor. It's kind of a cross between Sinbad the Sailor and Scrooge McDuck, I think.
Yes.
Although I think of him, I kind of think of him as more like Daffy, because I wanted to create a character who, like Daffy, who's completely and utterly self-serving in this kind of depraved way, but who the audience still roots for and still wants to win because he kind of represents like the universal greed and sort of selfishness in them. So I hope I succeeded with that.
Totally.
I'm not like other people. Pain hurts me. That's my one Daffy Duck quote that I've retained and always comes up when I'm whining. When I'm just whining and can't stop, that voice comes into my head. I'm not like other people. Pain hurts me.
Can anyone here do a Daffy Duck voice? I can't.
I can't. That was not a Daffy Duck voice. That was just me being obnoxious.
I totally got the Scrooge McDuck aspect with him diving into his gold, which was hilarious. It's really interesting that you should say that, BJ, because I totally feel like this modern era of pulp that we're kind of entering into is very influenced by Looney Tunes when it's done right to a large extent. Like when I tuned in very briefly earlier, and Gregor was talking about reading those really short, like Vamp Stamp or whatever, all these really short, kind of hokey stories that are like super fun and
Word
raunchy.
movies. They're word movies.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe them.
That's what the little trademark is or whatever. They're word movies.
Yeah, I like that. And it's like that's kind of the experience. I feel like this all is very similar to kind of fast little cartoons that come out before, a long movie. And I think it's just it's a really interesting new way to think of storytelling and publishing.
Yeah, I try to have that sort of frenetic cartoon energy a lot of the time in my writing. And I take a lot of inspiration from Looney Tunes characters. Actually, one of my other characters is sort of based on Bugs. Although I guess she's sort of a cross between Bugs Bunny, Thor, and Tank Girl. But so
That's a good
That sounds like a lot of fun.
that book, yeah, I guess you'll meet her when her book comes out later this year.
Beautiful.
Wow. We really need to have like a blog page for all the works discussed by all of our authors on this
That's
show.
a good idea. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, I volunteer Ben for that, John.
Since we're talking about Looney Tunes,
Oh yeah.
the occult, Elmer Crowley by Tom Bradley.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Akata Basic Nikaya by Tom Bradley. Whatever that it sounds like yoga or something.
It kind of reminds me. What's the name of that band? Hold on, let me look them up real quick.
Hot Shame and the Indoor Kites.
No.
All right, that's just a band name I made up.
Good.
Oh,
The Incognito Mosquitoes. That's another band name I made up.
That was your wrestling name.
no,
Yeah, that
they're
was
like
my
an
wrestling
English-
name. That was
Current
my
90
actual.
Current 93, that's what I'm thinking of. They actually have an album titled Looney Runes.
Oh, nice.
Jordan Crawl talks about them a lot.
Oh yeah, he actually has a whole anthology of stories dedicated to Current 93.
I don't know who they are or anything about them.
It's pretty much just one guy, but they're an English neo-folk band.
So,
so
go ahead, Regina.
I was gonna say, who's your absolute favorite author, BJ?
At the moment, it's probably Elizabeth Bedlam.
No, I know. I'll fight you for her.
And the cool thing is, I actually got to write a book with her recently, and that's going to come out. We're aiming for like Friday the 13th in March, so we're just kind of like
Oh, that's right around the corner.
doing the editing at the moment. I guess
Reminds me of something.
people are familiar with her stuff.
Yeah, I just read a book by her, finished it today. Yeah,
Oh, which one?
Hello, Old Friend.
Oh yeah, that one's really cool. Did you
Yeah, I
find it
liked
funny?
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I thought it was good. I
Yeah.
mean, it was entertaining story. I mean, I read it in like 2 sittings. It was good. I liked
Yeah,
it.
she's a master of just really sort of deadpan black humor. Very dry, deadpan
Yeah.
black humor.
Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely pick up some other work by her. This is the first thing that I've picked up thus far, so it was good.
Yeah, she's great. She's like super funny, super interesting, and just like, what a fucking imagination. I mean, the shit that comes out of this woman's head is just absolutely wild, second to none. I just love it, and I love her covers. Like her ability to create covers that at least catch my eye is just like unparalleled, wonderful. She's great.
Yeah.
So
Her
are you
covers
allowed
are
to say
awesome.
anything about this work that you've collaborated with her on?
Oh, yeah, totally. So it's called Holocaust Hearts.
Oh
And
boy.
So excited.
I think I can't remember how we came up with the title. I think I came up with something Hearts and it wasn't very good, and she came up with something Holocaust, and then we just put them together and came up with Holocaust Hearts. So,
Okay.
which I like. So it's, I guess, I'm not sure what genre it is because she doesn't really care about genre, and she sort of just writes whatever the hell she wants. And
Misery porn. She calls herself misery porn.
And I sort of do the same thing. Although I guess my stuff, only falls in the fantasy category just because I always put magic and monsters and zombie prostitutes in it, stuff like that. So she doesn't really care about.
That's like a leitmotif, like a
Oh, no,
theme, right?
I'm just joking. I only have zombie prostitutes in the one story.
Oh.
Otherwise, that'd get a bit.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, I already call my writing misery porn. You are not allowed. I have a fucking trademark.
Wait, you call yours black pill sitcom?
Black pill sitcoms, but I also have a novel that actually I just remembered this week that I was working on right before I got sexually assaulted and everything went to hell. I remembered, oh yeah, I was working on a book at that time. Anyway, no, actually it was called sadness porn.
Oh. You guys need some fucking lithium or something, man. You gotta.
Yeah, okay, so I'm not going to sue you, never mind. But it's close enough that I might halfway sue you.
Okay. Well, this book that we wrote, Holocaust Hearts, I don't actually think it's misery porn. It's about this woman who works in an archive, and she's sort of, I guess you'd say that she's misanthropic and she hates everyone, and she's depressed and just kind of bored with her routine. And she discovers this manuscript, or not manuscript, but these loose pages, these loose mysterious pages, and they sort of start to speak to her. And she, and it seems that they have a message for her. And then at the same time, the other character is a devil from hell, and he wants the pages that she has in her possession.
Sorry, I hate to keep cutting in, but that's also the plot of my book, The Talkative Corpse.
Really?
Yeah, so...
Maybe you should collab with her, BJ.
Or just pay me a percentage.
Are you sure?
Sorry.
That would be a hell of a coincidence.
No, I'd love to collaborate with you, but everybody likes money.
Yeah, I'm sure you're making a lot of that, right?
No, I'm not kidding though. Like, this is actually kind of a bizarre coincidence. He calls his writing misery porn. I call mine sadness porn.
No, he doesn't call it that. That was Jeremy.
I think Bedlam sometimes refers to her writing as misery porn, but as a joke.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm joking. I'm joking
Right,
too, and I'm also joking about suing you.
Oh, okay, that's good because I don't have any money, so you should out of luck. I also live in another country,
Yeah,
so
I was gonna
good luck.
say, and he's in Australia.
Oh, that's okay. I need to sue someone who's hiding from me in Eastern Europe anyway, so I might as well sue people all over the world.
Yep.
Anyway, go on.
Right. So yeah. So I guess it's an infernal romance. So a devil falls in love with a woman from Earth, but yeah, I don't want to give away the plot of the whole book. But basically, the
don't.
conflict is that she's in this universe. It's sort of like Calvinism rules. So she's fated to go to heaven, even if she murders babies and sells crack to
Awesome.
other babies. So really they can't be together because the devil's not allowed to go on Earth in his material form, and she can't die and go to hell to be with him, and he obviously can't go to heaven when she dies to be with her. So they have to come up with a creative solution to their problem, which kind of involves potentially destroying the entire cosmos, and that's the story. So
Well, how about heaven gets her during one season and hell gets her during the other? I mean, yeah.
all right, yeah, like Persephone. Yeah, no, the cosmos, yeah, isn't that understanding in this novel. I'm afraid it's just not that lenient.
No, that's
Right.
really great. I'm super excited. That sounds awesome. So you think it's gonna be what Friday the 13th? Which one?
March Friday the 13th. Yeah,
Oh boy.
so soon. Yeah.
Well, I usually fucking hate March Friday the 13th, but I'll love this one.
Why do you usually hate them?
Well, I've had like weird shit go down in March. It's like I think it's
Well,
double.
quit playing with those damn
the
Ouija
Ides
boards.
of
You get those
March.
damn occult books off your shelf.
Yeah, it's like the Ides of March intersecting with Friday the 13th, and it's like even if you don't really go in for Friday the 13th, it's one of those things where it's like I. Long story short, my father like went his whole life being afraid of Friday the 13th, and then the one Friday the 13th, like he finally got over his fear of Friday the 13th for like maybe a year or two, and then something very bad happened to him on Friday the 13th. And
Wow.
I feel like there's like a kind of, like I said, a Julius Caesar kind of a vibe that fits in there too because of the Ides of March. So I think March is just like a tricky month, but I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of comes up from.
Now I feel bad about the release
Yeah, don't
date.
do it now.
No,
Don't do it, BJ. You
okay.
got to find another Friday the 13th, man.
No, like I said, I think it's good to put it out there and go put something good on that date instead. So I'm looking forward to enjoying it. And obviously, it's got a great title and a great premise, so this is going to be excellent.
I mean, it's not too late
Of course,
to
you don't
put
say
her
that about
name in the
my
book, right, and have something horrible happen to her, right? I mean, is it? Right? It's not too late. You can name a character after her, right? Do it. Maybe I should have said it on the side.
You sound like uncomfortable or caught off guard or something, BJ.
Oh, no, I just didn't have a response.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I'm not a seasoned podcaster at all, as you can probably tell.
We aren't either.
No.
As you could probably tell.
He's like, who's this woman who keeps screaming about misery porn? Where did she come from? It's
Watch out
really
for that guy on
actually,
the bike.
yeah, no shit.
So, BJ, what's going on next for you? What do you think you're going to be coming out with in the next, like, 6 to 12 months, let's say?
Okay, so there's that one.
Yeah, I'm on the phone.
There's Holocaust Hearts, yeah, obviously, which I co-wrote with Bedlam, which I'm really excited about, and really proud of. Like I said, it's don't know what genre it is. There's black humor, gore, romance, and then there's my Aeon of Chaos stuff as well. So I've got one. I should have a novella coming out in March called The Crimson Crown, which is kind of the Aeon of Chaos version of Bluebeard. So hopefully people will like that. Mm-hmm. Kind of inspired by Bluebeard and Vlad the Impaler, stuff like that.
Awesome.
And then I've got I'll probably release a novel called Baron von Bad Trip, which is about a group of CIA agents who get superpowers from taking street drugs,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they have to take down Baron von Bad Trip, who's the living incarnation of all negative human psychedelic experiences going back to the dawn of time.
I fucking
So-
love that, dude. That's awesome.
God damn it! My book, Electra's Revenge, also has people getting superpowers from taking street drugs.
That's actually true, yeah.
Well,
I'm not even
Well-
kidding.
Sounds like you need to read each other's books.
that's
Yeah.
You're obviously kindred spirits.
Yeah.
Either we have to read it, either we have to do a collaboration or fight to the death. This is
No, I mean,
too
that's a
much.
great premise.
Well, that's interesting because I was amazed no one had done that before. I thought I was the first one. So there
Well,
you go.
guess what, buddy?
Huh?
You like Philip K. Dick?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really read him since like high school, but I always enjoyed his short stories. Yeah.
I feel like you would probably really enjoy his novels, but I
Yeah.
just like I feel like there's also kind of like a Venture Brothers vibe, and I really am excited. I can't wait to read Baron von Bad Trip, and that sounds great.
Yeah, cool. And then there'll be more Aeon of Chaos stuff as well.
I'm
What's that?
very excited.
He's like, I don't know if I want to discuss any of my other books because this woman might actually come kill me.
She said it, man.
Sorry for all the sound effects.
Yeah, you're gonna see your street, BJ, on this camera. In a minute.
Sorry, can you guys hear the people around me or the wind?
Yeah.
We've got
Yeah.
Jerry there conducting an
I'm just going to mute right now because as our guest may have noticed, I live in the middle of the desert in California, which is where all the people who fail and become addicted to drugs in LA wind up. So it's more interesting than I'd like, but I'm going to mute myself.
All right. Man, no, I really, I gotta tell you, I really enjoyed Our Lady of the Scythe. I found it really interesting. I found it very funny. It was definitely like very cinematic. Do you are you very influenced by comic books specifically?
Yeah, actually, I was kind of a slow learner, so I didn't really start reading books until I was about 12. I kind of just read comics until then. So yeah, and it took me a while to even read those. I just looked at the pictures for ages. So I'm definitely massively influenced by comics. Heaps and heaps. British stuff like 2000 AD and Judge Dredd. What else? Horror comics. Always been a big fan of horror comics, like European comics as well. Some manga, like stuff by Sihiro Muruo, Shintaro Keigo, Junji Ito, Hideshi Hino. Yeah, all kinds of. Probably one of my favorite writers of comics would probably have to be Pat Mills and David Latham. I think for just really consistent quality.
What do they do? What is the titles?
David Latham. Yeah, sure. Pat Mills created 2000 AD, which is
Okay.
You're probably familiar with. It's British, so
Yeah,
it's
I know
probably
what you're
familiar
talking
with.
about.
Yeah. And he created loads of stuff for that, like Nemesis the Warlock, who's like an alien sorcerer who fights against the Termite Empire. And the Termite Empire are kind of like fascist humans who go around the galaxy just like exterminating all the aliens. So he
2000
kind
AD,
of
that was made into like a movie, right?
there's been 2 Judge Dredd movies.
I thought 2000 AD was
was-
too, but maybe not.
There was a heavy metal movie based on the Heavy Metal magazine.
Okay.
There are a couple of those.
But who was the
um,
second author you mentioned?
David Latham, he did Stray Bullets, which is
Okay.
like a noir comic which won an Eisner Award, which is just phenomenal. One of the best
Okay.
comics I've ever read for sure. And he does a lot of horror stuff too. Like he did runs on Crossed. I don't know if you're familiar with Garth Ennis's Crossed, which is basically zombies, except they're like murder rape zombies instead of brain eating zombies.
Okay.
Yeah. So they,
I like that.
yeah. And he did a run on that, and he did a sort of an occult horror reinterpretation of the Reign of Caligula, which was called Caligula, which I really enjoyed.
Interesting.
So it's Latham,
Yes,
Lapham.
Lapham. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking like Latham, like Letham. So okay,
All right.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'm adding stuff to my. That's all I do on these broadcasts
It's
is
just add stuff.
add stuff to my Goodreads list.
No, Stray Bullets, just absolutely 100% recommend that as one of the best comics. Objectively, maybe the best comic I've ever read. Just really amazing.
I have to give that a whirl.
And you can get like a collected edition that's like really fat, like a phone book, and it's got almost all of it. So yeah.
And Crossed,
Totally worth it.
Crossed is the other one, right?
Yeah, that's the other one he did. He wrote some of it, but obviously there's like loads of different authors. And
he did a run on it.
Yeah, he did a couple of runs on it that I think were some of the better ones. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Silverfish, have you read that one?
Yes. Yeah, that's good too. That's another noir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
No worries. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for the suggestions. This is great, and thank you for coming on the show and during our style of interview.
Thanks for having me.
Well, hang on, Jay. I don't think you ever got around to talking about Court of the Mushroom King before you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. That is another Aeon of Chaos story. I guess I would call it, an erotic horror psychedelic fairy tale. So it is about a young princess who is kind of very bored with her royal life, and she spends most of her time dreaming, and she finds out that there's this forbidden garden on her father's estate that houses these forbidden mushrooms, and she gets really interested in trying them out, and it leads her into, I guess, another dimension. And yeah, I'm terrible at off the cuff blurbs. It's awful. I dread it. I spend hours writing blurbs. I should just read the blurbs I've written, to be honest. Yeah.
Or you could have Jeremy do it. He excels at reading blurbs and things of that nature. Yes.
Off the cuff blurbs. So yeah, my nemesis right now. So there you go.
This is also a part of the Aeon of Chaos, though, right?
Yeah.
And
it's all tied in.
That's your latest, right?
Yeah.
Now, does that also deal with that whole reoccurring theme?
Yeah, that one's sort of a prequel set before the Aeon of Chaos.
Okay. But the Devil's Daughter, basically.
Daughter of a demon.
So is it like a reverse principle where she has to be like angelic in order to piss off her dad? Or what?
Oh, no, she doesn't really rebel against her dad by being angelic, although that would be funny. Yeah.
It's like a reverse Addams Family.
What is the thing that drives her in that story?
I guess self-discovery. It's a coming-of-age story, so, she's got this problem where she turns into a demonic beast and murders people during sex or when she's trying to initiate sex. So she's trying to discover, learn more about her sort of demonic heritage and just even try and survive at Our Lady of the Scythe boarding school, which is extremely dangerous and chaotic and not particularly well run. So yeah, it's about self-discovery and growth. So yeah, there's a lot of character development in there, which people love. I often think that people are too obsessed with character development, but in a coming-of-age story, it makes sense for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast with two backs.
Something like that.
Hey, that's a real term.
Yeah.
What, the beast with two backs?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a real term.
I kind of look like I'm into the occult right now, right?
Well, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
I'm not, but I could pass for it, right?
Like you're doing a
I don't
ritual
know.
process.
I think
Well,
that derogatory term that is, I don't know who calls it. I'm not going to say it, but I think it's more apt.
Oh,
So.
candle fag.
Yeah.
I was gonna say faux cult.
A what? A what?
Faux cult.
Faux cult. Yeah.
No, wait. What does that mean?
Like
Faux
like
as in
faux fake. Faux cult.
That's hilarious when you say
Like
that.
you're a goth poser, man.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with faux cult, where everything is a prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Oh,
Neil
gee.
Bimbo. Can I also give a shout out to Neil? Thank you for listening. Please.
Yeah,
As
where
you're
did he
about to
come
say,
from?
it's really late where I am.
Where did he
I
come
think it's what he was about to say, I think.
Well, no, wait a minute, Gregor. This isn't how you're going to leave, is it?
No.
Okay, because
No.
there is one thing that I have to talk about before you sign off.
Okay.
But I'll wait until after BJ's finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just gotta say, Neil Bimbo had better read my books before he reads the Pale Imitations, or I'll kill his ass too. Death threats for you and you and you. Jeremy's like, please, you're gonna get us banned.
And so kitties, death for all.
Yeah, that's just redundant.
So where are we taking this now, Regina? What?
Well, I've just been trying to bid BJ a good night and thank him for coming on, but you know.
Dan's abused him enough.
Hey, you know, we gotta keep these interviews athletic.
Yeah.
Keep
Just
them on their
keeping
toes.
you on your toes.
Yep.
Right. That's right.
One of these days, I'm going to get someone on here who's even more paranoid than I am, and I'm going to be responsible for their like overdose or suicide or something, and then I'm going to be really feeling shitty.
Please don't do that after the show, BJ.
I'm going to be like, why did I think that was funny?
Yeah, she's coming at it from a weird angle tonight.
Yeah. Ben, turn your camera on again.
Maybe.
Why, do you want my shirtlessness to cause all the women watching to flood the world with them?
Yes.
Yeah, turn the cam on.
Yeah,
Turn
turn
the
that
cam
cam on again. It's gonna lighten the mood.
I'm not turning it back on.
Turn it back on. Turn it back on right now. Turn it back on right now.
If I turn it back on, my dick's gonna be on screen. Okay.
Turn it back on right
And you don't
now.
want that, do you?
That's fine.
I don't care.
Now we all know that Ben masturbates to death threats, right?
All of
Where have we taken this? What? How do we get out of it?
BJ.
That's what I ask myself all day, every day.
It's not my fault.
Okay, let Regina work magic.
All right.
With a K.
Yeah.
Yes. BJ, thank you.
Yes. Oh, yes. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And yeah.
I hope you will see past our flaws and come back sometime.
Next time I'll try.
Before you go,
if you have me back, I'll pre-write my blurbs and make it seem like they're off the cuff.
Yeah, man. That's what I
rather
do.
than just really badly improvised.
Before you go, plug any like websites or social media that you want to plug.
Oh, right. Yeah, cool. So my website is www.aeonofchaos.com. And that's got free stories. So if you want to, people want to see if my writing's any good and you can't be bothered downloading the sample off Amazon, you can read them, can read some stuff for free on my website, and there's like reviews there and stuff. And obviously I've got like an author page on Amazon, and on all the socials, although I don't really do Twitter
sorry. Yeah, those are
properly. Yeah, so yeah, if you Google me, you'll find me, and on Amazon, and yeah, www.aeonofchaos.com, which that's my website.
Very cool. And I look forward to reading
Cool.
The Unwithered Flower.
Yeah, I hope
Or
you enjoyed
Unwithering
it.
Flower, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely
Cheers.
be checking that out.
Yeah.
Cool. So, what's the? I know sometimes on a show the guests just hang around, or
Oh, you can hang around if you like.
If you want to.
I was just opening the door for you to escape.
Yeah.
Trying to escape.
Yeah.
Sometimes people want to really desperately run away from us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Either
man.
escape while you can. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, you can hang around if you want.
Yeah, I just
Just
figured
so
you
you
were
know.
really desperate to get the hell out of here. So, but you
Just
want to
so
hang around?
Yeah.
Just so you
Different.
know, just
yeah,
so
I
you
can
know,
totally.
we've been known to go like 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah. So
I
Okay.
mean,
But you're not going to do that, I'm sure.
Whenever we get tired.
I don't know. It depends.
But there will only be another 3 or 4 hours of threatening to kill you. So.
Yeah, and I don't know what the fuck.
If enough of y'all,
Anne's in a mood tonight.
Actually,
Yeah. I've been having these weird rolling panic attacks all day long for no apparent reason. So
Sorry,
Now
dude.
she's just taking it out on random guests on this program.
just people I've never met before, just threatening to kill them, just because their ideas are somewhat similar to mine. It's all in a day's work.
imagine.
I was just saying, I knew a guy who was psychotic and claimed that literally everyone was plagiarizing him pretty much all the time, which is
Awesome.
kind of
Oh, that's an awesome shtick. Clearly, I can sustain it to some degree. Maybe I should just plagiarize him in doing that.
Yeah, maybe you should sue that guy for stealing your shtick.
Yeah, there you go.
He never wrote anything; it was all just in his head. But he still thought people were stealing his ideas. So
Wow. Well, if telepathy really becomes a thing, and like, I'm serious. What's his name? The guy who fucked the pirate's abusive ex-wife, Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, yeah.
Yeah, he's talking about like, actually working on telepathic devices, and I'm like, oh my god, there's never going to be intellectual property again. They're going to be people who just make a specialty out of, instead of actually having ideas themselves, they just hack telepathy to just gank everybody else's ideas. Like, you've invested
It's called
billions
Google
of dollars.
Drive, right? I mean, they already do that. It's called Google Drive.
Okay,
That's
if they
true.
were going to go down that road, then I would think that the human mind would have to be treated as if it were real estate. Then that is a good, solid sci-fi concept for whoever could develop it.
And then you could sell chunks of your brain. Like,
Yeah,
this is the part of my brain that constantly wants to threaten to kill people for imaginary plagiarism. That's really not very useful to me, but I could rent it out to somebody who really wants to do that all day, and I could just rent out that chunk of my brain and they could have it, and I'd have another $200 in my pocket at the end of the week.
Isn't that kind of just how you become like a Manchurian candidate?
Oh, yeah.
But that's the analog version, dear.
Okay.
Yeah, she's updated the concept, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
So,
Now,
Jeremy, what is it that you needed to talk to me about?
okay. Self-storage by J. Hang on, let me pull it up because it's a hard to pronounce surname. Self-storage by J. Bonansinga.
Okay.
This is like the first like absolute masterpiece that I've read this year. This dude who's a heroin addict and he has his son for over the holidays, because it's his turn. Typical separated but joint custody of the kid situation. Well, he's got his son for Christmas Eve, and they drop by his storage unit to either drop something off or get something out of there. I don't remember what. They accidentally end up locked in there. Okay, and by the time the last person working there has gone home for the night. I mean, they're still trapped in there, to no one else's knowledge, and it's like the only time that they can do anything to try to affect their, to encourage their freedom, to get something loose or get the door open or something, is every 15 minutes the red pilot light will come on, and they'll have a few short minutes to try to look for something that will help get them out of the storage unit they're locked in. Then they start having to deal with anxiety, which speeds up hunger and dehydration issues due to all the crying and panicking and everything. They got headaches going on, and they're starting to get weak, just overall. They're starting to imagine things, get paranoid, and the father is going through horrible heroin withdrawals, because he left it in the car. He didn't expect to be stuck overnight in this storage unit, obviously, with his son. And so he's going through withdrawals, and he's trying to tough it out for his son and be reassuring, even as he's got delirium tremens, or just, restless leg syndrome, and just practically almost going into seizure territory, and his son starts to imagine supernatural things going on, and they can hear noises getting closer to their storage unit, like for hours and hours. It's a little bit closer each time. And I mean, my God, man, the atmosphere in this story, is it up on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. It is worse than Gerald's Game in terms of just overall claustrophobia and anxiety, that it induces.
I think I did add it to my TBR. I don't think I need to read it now.
Why is that?
You just told me the whole damn thing, man.
No, I didn't. I didn't tell you what's going on.
They die.
I didn't say that.
They do.
I'm telling you, you will not see what's going on coming.
So why is it that you had to tell me about this specifically? I'm not a heroin addict.
Because every now and then I can make a connection with you on a really great work, and you'll take me up on it, and you'll see what I was talking about. For example, Ghosters.
Yeah, that was a great book.
Beneath the World of Sea by Chris Beckett.
No, sorry, I don't.
See?
So you're saying this is of that caliber?
This is definitely of that caliber. There's some real out of left field twists in this, and it's not anything that you're going to think of. I guarantee it.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I added this to my TBR earlier today when I saw that you had been.
I already know that this is going on my year-end list in December. Yeah, that's how good it is. Yeah.
Okay.
God. And you guys wonder why I'm in such a bad mood. Did you see that? I literally cannot sit down for a minute to drink a beverage without some fucking desert rat coming up to me and asking me for something. Usually they're trying to hire me as a prostitute. So this was a small mercy. He just wanted a cigarette.
Well, did you give him one?
I don't smoke anymore.
You should carry them around just for that occasion.
Yeah, just to appease the assholes who won't leave me alone. It's one thing when this happens. Yeah, it's one thing when this happens in a city, but I deliberately got out of the city, and here I still am, just pestered by strangers.
So this thing's 213 pages. That's a long book for that concept.
That's what I'm saying, man. There's a lot going on that you don't know about in it. Yeah. Okay. Seriously, good shit.
All right, I'm buying it right now, and if it's not good, I don't know, you're going to do something.
Okay.
Yeah, Greg is going to find you and cut your arms and legs off.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope I didn't scare our guest away. He seemed cool.
He's still there.
He's still there. He's lurking in the background.
Yeah, I just actually went to get a cup of tea.
So yeah, I'll read that, Jeremy. And now you have finished it?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm telling
you. And you're saying it's of the same caliber as Beneath the World of Sea.
Beneath the World of Sea, and even though you don't think so, Church Mouse, all that.
Okay. All right. Have you now? Everybody on this podcast, let's call it, I don't know what it's called really. Generally reads like relatively offbeat underground stuff, left of field or whatever, right? So have you noticed that? I don't know. I've noticed that like it seems as if there's like an entire other world of like mainstream publishing, and every time I go out and I look at what it is that's being published by mainstream publishers, it's like they're in a totally disconnected universe that's just like all made up of
Beige.
books that are like trying not to offend anybody. They're just the most just plain
Yes.
thing, and it's like everything is like the same book cover company makes them, and they're
Yeah,
just
well,
like all flat digital artwork.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you multiply nepotism by Soviets.
Yeah, they're following trends. They get one book that's popular, like with fucking Twilight. Remember when Twilight was popular and every book was trying to look like a Twilight cover?
My fucking first job was at a Barnes and Noble when the Twilight movie was premiering in theaters. And it was hell.
And I swear, like somewhere in my diseased brain, I specifically remember a fucking Bible that had a cover that was aping Twilight.
Oh, that's great.
That's fucking hilarious.
I cannot for the life of me find it, but I know it happened.
I wish you could find it. Oh,
If you go to the Overdrive site and
Is
the
it like
library site, everything on there has the same book cover. Like they use the same I don't know, graphic design house or something to make all these flat book covers. You know what I'm talking about?
So you're saying it's gotten worse?
Yeah.
It has. I also my last job right before the pandemic was at a library, and it was by the time I was working at that library, man, every fucking book was just like a pattern with a graphic design cover with like 3 lines and looks just like so juvenile almost. It's like a big YA trend that just kind of exploded into middle grade fiction and then into just like mainstream literature, and now all books are this way, and it sucks.
And right now, for some reason, this sort of like psychedelic multicolor covers with just the text on it is what's popular now. I have no idea why.
Were you gonna say something, BJ?
I was just trying to imagine what the Twilight-inspired Bible cover looked like. I'm kind of picturing like manscaped, sparkly Jesus, maybe.
I'm pretty sure
it would just be the exact same cover, right? Isn't there like an apple on the cover of Twilight or something?
It was either an apple or an eye, one of those two.
Yeah, I think there's an apple on the cover of Twilight, right?
Just like an eye. I don't know why you would put that on a Bible, but
okay. I mean, that's the cover of her follow-up, The Host or whatever, right? Or Host or something? Is it eye on the cover?
I mean, The Host was basically just the covers were rip-offs of Twilight, so.
Well, I mean, but it had an eye on the cover, though, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't fucking keep up with the Stephanie Meyer books.
I do, man.
Honestly, I do, because her marketing is so. I didn't first, but then I took a closer look at what a real phenomenon she created, and I didn't realize until the other day that she wrote a gender swapped version of her own original book, and then just published it. So she did her own gender swapped fan fiction, basically, which is a trip. And then
what's her face did it too, right? The woman who ripped her off to make the 50 Shades of Grey.
She did that too,
yeah.
Well, and then she also has a version from the male protagonist's perspective. So she has written the same book 3 times, 3 different ways, and published it 3 different times, and each time sold millions of copies. And I mean, it's that is honestly, I take off my hat to Stephanie Meyer for having the fucking balls to be able to do that, because that
audacity is what you call that.
Yeah, it is. It's
it's basically just you want more of this, slap here and choke on it, you fucking pigs.
It is.
Does that mean you're gonna? Do you think Does that mean you'd potentially rewrite the Dottie series from Dottie's perspective, or?
No, I would never
Do it.
but I have I have an arc in mind. I have a 3-season arc, and then I have a bunch of Popeye kind of influenced shorts. So like I definitely have plans for the franchise, but it's interesting that she has chosen to do is just like the exact opposite of like I've talked about this with my significant other where I feel like J.K. Rowling's biggest mistake we both feel that her biggest mistake was taking Harry Potter out of Hogwarts because the real character of the Harry Potter series that everybody really loves is Hogwarts and the culture of Hogwarts and all the different things about it. And as soon as the series left Hogwarts, it sucked. And so I feel like, you know, Stephanie Meyer is kind of like trying to keep her series in Hogwarts by not having any spin-offs that are not just like the first book written over and over again. So it's interesting.
One thing has anyone ever done that? Like done a whole series of book where it's like a Rashomon thing where it's like the same story but all from different perspectives?
I'm sure that some of these like paranormal romance
Yeah,
series
I'm
do
sure.
that. Yeah. Because I
Not
mean,
just
there's a
like
lot of these
from the-
books. They have a different character. You know, each book in the series focuses on a different character. You know, they all get their time to shine. But I wouldn't doubt if they did a Rashomon type of thing too.
In the
Yeah, that could-
1990s, there was a big academic fad where people would take like classical novels and rewrite them from the point of view of another character. Like somebody rewrote Jane Eyre from the point of view of the crazy woman in the attic.
Oh yeah, and I actually read in college. I read Grendel, which was the Beowulf story from the perspective of Grendel. I actually really like that book.
Gardner, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
I actually really like that book.
Yeah, I hear that that's good.
Yeah,
I'd like to write that one. Wide Sargasso Sea, which was the rewrite of Jane Eyre, just sucked because it was a totally minor character, and the person who wrote it was clearly a college professor who had been ordered to publish or get fired. But people recommended it because it was somehow vaguely political. I don't even remember how.
Yeah, I've not read that.
You're not missing anything.
Yeah.
Since you
I do
brought
recommend
up
Grendel. That's a good book.
What is it? What is it?
Grendel.
Oh yeah. I hear that that's very good. Yeah.
Since you brought up Horrible Vacuum International earlier,
Mm-hmm.
I did want to share some really great dialogue from one of the books that I don't think you have read called T-Shirt of the Werewolf. Get it?
Yes, I get it. And that is one of the better titles. Yes.
Okay, check this out. Hang on, I'm getting there. You're probably gonna have to go soon, aren't you?
Who?
You,
I got to listen to this dialogue from T-Shirt of the Werewolf
right? Okay.
because that's pretty important.
Oh yeah, it is.
You got priorities in life, my friend.
Exactly. They'll understand.
Hang on, it couldn't have gone far. It was written by Art Lumen, so the guy whose dad wrote Upholstergeist.
Okay, Art Lumen was okay, all right.
The guy with the glasses.
Right, and then Mark, what was it? Mark Gunk?
Yeah.
And that's the other gentleman we had on the program as well.
I think he wrote Grocery Stalker and Vamp Stamp.
And he was his name was Matt, but he writes under the name Mark Gunk, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as soon as I find this, I'll send you on your way. But
so I'm getting kicked off. I can't even choose to stay longer tonight.
oh no, usually this is about the time you head out though.
Okay, yeah, you're
a big
right.
career guy now, right?
Yeah, I'm a very important person. Yeah.
Okay. Almost there.
Oh man, this is how warm it is. I feel a little guilty. Everyone else in the country is freezing to death. But look, right in front of me, there's a girl wearing a tube top.
Unfortunately, we can't see that now.
Oh, well, let me get a little closer.
Well,
Wow,
Jeremy,
I'm totally being
Jeremy,
a creeper, aren't
Yeah,
I?
get it right up on close, right on top.
Jeremy.
Just like shove it right in her face.
Yeah, just like put your phone right down in her cleavage.
yeah, show me your tube top, lady.
See, there. I'm not
Yep,
being
yep.
too creepy, and you can see how warm it is.
Yeah, I can.
Check that
Yeah,
out.
she's got a tube top on.
Yep. She even has the option. She even has the.
Can
What's
she
that?
not hear you talking about her?
Did
Nah,
you say she has
it's
back
kinda noisy.
acne?
No. I'm saying she has the like she's got a jacket in her arm, so she has the option of being warmer, and yet she does not need to take it because
Oh,
She not hear you talking about her.
She probably can.
You probably,
She
yeah,
just-
she
she
probably
I mean
thinks
this,
that
this
Anne's a
town is
creep.
so full of crazy people that one more person yapping insanely just probably doesn't even register.
Yeah.
What was I looking
She's like-
for again?
Like, yeah, that's the 8th creeper that's followed me, filming me today.
Wait, she was filming you?
No, I was probably the 8th creeper who was walking around behind her, filming her today.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, at least you weren't screaming at her about her ass or anything.
Yeah, I was
You're
just
talking
screaming
about
about the
back
weather.
acne.
No, that was you, man. She can't hear you. I was talking about how she's carrying a jacket, not back acne. I don't know how you got that out of that. Oh, God. Yeah, she has the option of putting on back acne to keep her warm.
Okay, so here it is.
We're ready. Standing by.
Yeah, I've been practically getting myself arrested filling time here. Chop, chop.
Okay. Excuse me, sir. Do you have any more T-shirts, perhaps in the back or up in an attic space or something? I'm looking for the coolest T-shirt you see. And then the store owner interrupts him. Oh, yes, by all means, Your Royal Highness, who's the T-shirt shop owner. I would love nothing more than to continue to aid you in your quest to purchase a single T-shirt from my store that was to have closed nearly 2 hours ago. It took me only nearly a half an hour of moving heavy boxes out of the way to clear a space to set up the ladder and retrieve the box. Here you go, Your Royal Highness. It says, do not open ever again. But boy, this sure is important what you're doing. Why let something like a clear written warning hold you back?
And that's
Is that
it.
it?
I think that the impact was lessened because the noise in the background.
So this book's just terrible, right?
Yeah.
It's terrible in a way it's terrible it goes back around to it's so terrible it goes back around to being the best thing ever.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel that. I don't know. I'm not one of those people that likes to ironically enjoy stuff that sucks. I just like stuff
Dude,
that's
the dialogue is like
I mean, it's intentionally
It's hilarious.
stupid.
Yeah, what are you doing on this show then?
that is some funny dialogue though, man. Surely you've got an ear for that.
I mean, you have to kind of see the package that it's in to get the kind of context, right? I mean, the context is kind of key for what it is, and it's also making fun of a distinctly American style of cheese. So,
T-shirt
Right.
of the werewolf.
But if you're
Yeah.
deliberately, like if you're parodying something that sucks, and the result is that you create something that sucks.
But it doesn't suck.
Dude,
yeah, I mean, that's what I say about that new WandaVision television program, right? Like,
Okay,
yeah.
That
Dude,
covers-
dude, the title is werewolf, WEAR wolf.
get it?
Do you get
It
it?
covers. Yeah, I get it.
Hang on. Speaking of WandaVision, I've never watched the show, but I guarantee you I know who the lead villain is going to be.
All right, who is it?
Mojo.
I don't even know who
This
that is.
Mojo.
He's a fat
All right,
guy with spider legs.
Apparently
I'm
they're
pretty
gonna make. Apparently they're making Flag Smasher the villain in the in what was it? What was it? The
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
yeah,
Did you say
Falcon and the Winter
Flag?
Soldier.
You say
Flag.
flag smasher?
Yeah.
How do you smash a fucking flag? Pardon me.
Well,
Like, so
that's,
yeah.
that's the name of the.
You
that's the name
put
of
it in
the.
you put it in the freezer, so it's frozen. And then you smash it with a hammer, or
Yeah, it's a
Well,
very
that's the name of the
complicated
villain.
process.
Well, that's the name of the quote unquote villain, but you know,
Right.
Flank Smasher is a hero in my books.
But yeah, it is a dumb. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Mojo, you understand why Mojo has to be the main?
No, I don't know who Mojo is even.
Oh, are you serious?
I've never heard of Mojo.
Is it Mr. Mojo Rising?
No. Okay, so but Regina, did you say that you were more of a DC person or?
Yeah, I'm a DC person.
Oh, that's terrible.
What? Fuck you.
Ben, do you know who Mojo is?
I don't know.
I know.
I can't
I
think
know
off
who
my top
Mojo
of my
is.
head.
All right, hang on.
Yeah,
All right,
but
first of
yeah,
all, who's
BJ
that-
knows who he is.
BJ, who is
Hang
he?
on. Who here is actually watching WandaVision?
I'm watching
I'm
one.
not watching that shit.
I'm not.
It's terrible. I mean, the first 3 episodes are just so excruciatingly horrible to watch.
Okay, tell me the premise, and then I'll key you.
Well,
in.
the premise. Go ahead.
No, tell me.
I mean, Regina was.
Oh, I
gonna tell you.
recognize
So,
the. I
the
recognize the
premise-
design of that. Yeah.
The premise is basically that it's picking up after Infinity War or whatever the fuck just happened. I don't
Endgame.
remember what the fuck it was. Endgame. Thank
You're right.
you.
Yeah.
So it's picking up after Endgame and Vision has died, but now he's alive and he's living in a series of sitcoms with Wanda, and every episode is a different decade of sitcom that they're riffing off of, and like slowly they're becoming increasingly like self-aware of the fact that this is a sitcom, and then it becomes aware that, you know, it's not really a sitcom, it's a simulation of a sitcom that's happening because of things. So it's, you know, it's kind of, I guess it's to me more interesting than a normal Marvel superhero thing is at this point. I've become so fucking snooty about superhero shit. Honestly, I'm so inundated. I'm so just like, I just see Disney wanting my money, and it's like I just don't even give a shit anymore, you know?
But you're
Yeah, but I
watching-
mean, you know, the concept itself isn't terrible, but man, like you have 3 episodes dedicated to this horrible.
The setup is
So-
really long.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen that Too Many Cooks video?
Yes.
No,
Yeah,
wait,
so-
wait. Don't get off the topic though. Yeah, hang on. Ride this out. We'll talk about Too Many Cooks in a second, but hang on. Focus. Power structure of Mojo's world is based on the television industry. He became their leader by controlling it, along with the slave trade.
So he's Rupert Murdoch, essentially.
Yeah,
Only better looking.
like an alien Rupert Murdoch, only more like morbidly obese and like spider legs. Yeah, and so he has got to be the one who is controlling this. Wanda probably made some Faustian pact with him in order to be deluded into believing that Vision's still alive.
Interesting.
No, I mean you're off base. I mean,
No, it
the
isn't.
thing is, dude,
Well,
like they've already
there's
kind of
no
revealed
way.
what's going on, and now it's going to be like stretched out for 3 more episodes. Like it's just going to be. It's just.
No,
it
no,
should
no,
have been like a 90-minute.
This
thing.
sitcom thing is not like a minor story arc. It is the story. Mojo is the only villain that makes sense for this series.
Okay.
I mean, you could say that all you
Mhm.
want, but I don't think they're
Okay,
clever enough
me
to
how I'm
do
wrong.
this,
Tell
Jeremy.
me
I
how
mean,
I'm
you're giving
wrong.
them too much credit.
Tell me how I'm wrong then. If it's
Well, I will say that based on the popular pages along the side, you might be onto something. So I'll leave it at that.
oh wait, I didn't even see those. Monica Rambeau. See, yeah.
And something else there too is also in there.
Agatha Harkness. Wanda
You
Maximoff.
might be right.
Scarlet
be right.
Witch. Mephisto. Mephisto might have been like the one who brokered the deal between them, because he's like the devil of the Marvel comics.
I guess that would make more
Yeah.
sense because, like, when we were watching it, I was just like, so she just playing with his dead corpse?
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. I'm pretty sure whoever's running the MCU has sold any artistic integrity to Mephisto for success.
Yeah.
But I guess that makes more sense than her just playing around with his dead body, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it kind of seems like now.
No,
It's like
no.
Weekend at Bernie's.
She's
Yeah. Yeah.
she's in her own paracosm.
Weekend at Visions.
All right.
Now wait a minute.
But it's an interesting concept, but poorly executed, I guess, is what I'm getting at. It's just really terrible.
If I'm right, though, we could be seeing Longshot in a live action situation for the first time ever. Huh?
All right.
What's BJ? What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I should restrain my cynicism.
Longshot is the guy
sit in the corner.
Longshot's the guy who rebelled against Mojo, and he's like his superpower is actually being lucky.
Why would you want to see that?
Because he's cool.
He's not cool. Look at that guy.
That's cool.
They had Domino, and she has the same power, and it's kind of just
Wait a minute.
cooler.
Who
I don't know.
escaped? Who escaped? Who left?
Oh, Anne left.
Why?
Dropped. She probably dropped.
She doesn't like comic books.
All right,
She don't like funny book stuff.
I want Dogs in the Woods. I want her found and brought back.
I never watched the Doom Patrol TV show. Did they ever bring the Brotherhood of Dada in?
I never watched it either.
I actually like those comics, but I never watched this. I mean, the show looked bad to me, so.
I hear it was supposed to be good, but I've never read the comics, so I wouldn't, but I don't know.
If the DCU wouldn't fuck up, they probably would have gotten either a Brotherhood of Dada or Anarchy movie by now.
Yeah, the DC universe is just such a disappointment. I mean, it could have been so much fucking better.
Oh, look at me! I'm Zack Snyder. I'm so dark and deep.
Well, yeah. Here's the problem too: is that it's also Zack Snyder trying to recreate Christopher Nolan's Batman. It's like you can't reboot Batman at this point because it's all just trying to be Christopher Nolan's Batman. You can't get more dark and gritty and realistic. You have to go the other way. The next successful Batman that's like really imaginative and fun is going to be like campy. Mark my words.
And you should just re-release Batman and Robin.
What's that?
No.
They should just re-release Batman and Robin.
Well,
no.
They need to do a better version of that.
Yeah, just hire someone other than Zack Snyder because Zack Snyder is a stupid frat boy. He's not Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
I mean, personally.
Go ahead.
I'm so sick of superheroes. I feel like if they stop making superhero movies now for 20 years, maybe in 20 years I could watch one if they started again. But I don't know.
They need a break. I really feel like Logan was for me like signaling the death of superhero movies, and it was like I was already tired of them a little bit, but I feel like that was when a sort of cynicism almost entered the superhero movie arena, where it was like even the movies didn't want to keep doing this shit.
I mean, Endgame was like, okay, it's done, right? Like that was a nice little, finish. Okay, let's go and do something else, right?
Yeah.
But now it's just like they're just okay. We got to figure out how we're gonna even continue on, So I'm not really thrilled about them. I'd like to see something else.
I wish they'd make a martial law movie. Does anyone know martial law?
Yeah, I know. He was like sort of a predecessor to the Punisher.
Ooh.
Yeah, his whole shtick was that he hunted superheroes and basically arrested or killed them. And I don't know if someone can put up an image of him. He wears like a gimp mask and he has like this whole fascist aesthetic. He's got like barbed wire wrapped around one arm, and he basically kills parodies of Batman, Superman, etc.
So it's more like a predecessor to The Boys.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it was The Boys 20 years before The Boys came out.
And I assume the comedian to an extent.
It was done by Pat Mills and Kevin O'Neill. I think it was serialized in Toxic Magazine and another. I can't recall exactly. Maybe it was I think DC published it as well, in the States. It's really cool. It's really black humor, and if you're sick to death of superhero movies, you'd probably enjoy that because I reread it and enjoyed it even more than I did the first time because I was so sick of Marvel movies.
Yeah. I mean, at least the Marvel movies. I mean, the DC movies are just terrible. I mean, Marvel movies aren't terrible, but they're
besides Joker. Joker is good, but the rest suck.
I've not seen that one, so
I wouldn't agree. But anyway, I should.
Yeah, I have no desire to see that movie. It just seems like, I don't know.
I think Joker's really good, but that was the only. But it's no surprise that was a complete departure from what the other fucking ones were doing.
I just feel like all of these movies are so like they all suffer from the same problem that
all the DC movies just suffer from. Oh, look at me! I'm Zack Snyder. I'm so dark and deep. I really don't like Zack Snyder. I hope you can tell.
Yeah, we can tell. I do feel like, you know, Zack Snyder has like a style that he wants to impart on things. So I think that there's a little bit of that going on, definitely for sure. But I also feel like they're just like really they're doing things like in a very transparent beat for beat way. And I think Marvel is the same way too, where at this point they're really just they have the formula for the superhero movie. They do the formula for like the first superhero movie in like or they subvert it slightly now. So it's like, you know, I don't know, like the Black Panther was kind of an example of a slightly subverted one. And then they, you know, do another superhero movie that's like a crossover, and then they do a proper sequel. And it's so just like, you know, you can write this shit just asleep. And
program a computer with an algorithm to shit them out.
And so it's like for me, I just like I really want to see something different. But it's like what can we do? That's what everybody keeps saying is we want something different, but then everybody pays to watch these fucking remakes that come out. And it's like you got to vote with your money. It's the same reason why people in the video game industry have problems with pre-orders, where people just pre-order a terrible game that comes out and then like is just a disaster, you know. And with books too, like we were talking about how it's like mainstream literature exists on a totally different plane of reality from the types of shit that we read and talk about on this show and publish and write. So it's like, man, I just I feel so frustrated when I look at the state of art right now, and I feel really alienated. And I like this show because I feel less alienated when I come in and talk to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is very strange to see what passes for, I guess, mainstream culture. It's so bizarre. It is like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just so
flat.
Yeah, flat and constructed, I guess. You know, like it's all like it just all seems to be so planned, you know?
Yeah, man. It's like, and it's so like it's all some form of like really specific propaganda in some way or another. And it's so just like it's all very calculated. And like with Disney, what I've really noticed with the new Disney movies, it's like honestly, you know, when I was a kid, I really loved obviously the Disney movies that were geared toward my generation because I was trained to love them, but also because there is something, you know, really like honest and rich about some of the 90s Disney movies and before the animated ones, you know, that were 2D. And with the 3D ones, I just couldn't understand why I couldn't appreciate them until I realized that like if you map their plots to like if you can find the specific one that they're going for, what they're really just trying to do is they're trying to like rewrite old Disney movies with like a new kind of veneer, with a new protagonist for kind of the new generation with a 3D character model. And so it's like you can really kind of match up current Disney movies and see beat for beat the old ones that they're riffing off of. And it's so just like fucking completely lazy and boring. And there's just no life to it, but the shit and just like.
And you know, it's literal that they're just rewriting it with the fucking remakes. A friend of mine, for some reason,
the live action ones or whatever, they're supposedly live action.
Yeah, a friend of mine took me to see the live action Lion King when that came out, and that's fucking poo poo doo doo caca.
No, unnecessary completely. The original is
it fucking sucks.
The original is more than enough. Yeah.
It absolutely just eats shit. It's like the whole time I'm watching, I'm just wondering, why the fuck did they make this?
Yeah,
What is the purpose of
because
this
suckers?
existing?
There's a sucker born every minute. That's why, right?
I paid to go see it. Give me my fucking money back.
To preserve the copyright or the trademark or whatever. That's why they do remakes. That's to hold on to that property.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well,
there's no.
that Disney like went out of their way to fucking to fuck with the copyright laws so they could hold on to copyright longer. They didn't need to remake The Lion King, especially now.
They just want that sweet, sweet new generation.
Yeah, there's just a sucker born every minute. That's all there is to it, right? Like,
yeah, we'll shit this out, and you fucking lemmings will go see it.
I know you said that I know that you were being coy or sarcastic last week when you said that I did not that I succeeded in replicating Aladdin's accent from when I saw it.
Oh yeah, I mean
that brief moment where you sang the song sounded okay.
Yeah, that sounded pretty good.
No, but you don't understand. I used to do it 100% perfect. I used to until the twang crept back in.
You lost it.
When I started getting into my late 30s and got tired of everything, then the twang came back.
So at one point in your life, you sounded exactly like Aladdin from the cartoon.
Purposefully so, yes.
Christ. Why are you telling anybody?
You just sounded like that all the time. Well, when you were deliberately trying to do it.
It was organic, though. It wasn't like people couldn't tell I was emulating Aladdin. I just did good.
Because nobody would ever think anybody would be trying to emulate Aladdin.
Right.
You were just trying to flatten your accent. It's like I guess that's why why your accent never sounded as thick as Zach's.
Yeah. Did Anne get mad?
No, her
activity problems.
Yeah.
I think she got mad at me.
I mean, you do a better job of doing a flat, accent than Zach did, because Zach couldn't even do it. Like he was not,
Well, Donnie, he like has totally buried his Southern heritage. It's like there's nothing left of it.
Who?
Kevin Donahue.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Oh yeah, the guy who wrote Wash Your Mouth and
He used to live here. Yeah, he used to live here.
Yeah, I've never really heard him. I've never heard him talk, so I didn't know if he had an accent or not. But
I don't know.
Forgetting he comes from Tennessee.
I bet he based it on some fictional character in a movie. Oh, I guarantee you.
You guys know who lives near me is Bruce Campbell from Evil Dead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh, awesome.
Fucking awesome. I saw him do a reading of Peter and the Wolf with our local orchestra over in a couple of towns. It was fucking awesome. It was so fun.
Awesome.
It was great.
I'm gonna mute and go back and see if I can pinpoint the thing where I must have made her mad to where she didn't come back.
Dude,
she
didn't get
probably
mad.
Didn't make her mad. You probably just
she got mad at Phoenix that one time.
I mean, she didn't get mad when you went over there in the corner and peed earlier. So I mean,
I didn't go in the corner. What are you talking about?
What?
Yeah, what are you doing? Don't you have a bathroom?
I didn't go in the corner and pee. What are you talking about?
Play it back. It looks like you're obviously going in the corner and taking a pee.
I know what
What, are you trying to cover up the scent of your cat pissing there?
When was this?
I think it was when you were getting your can.
It was exactly at 8:54 p.m. Central Time.
When was it?
8:50. Look at the private chat.
Yeah.
Timestamp it.
Yep. That's when it was.
Timestamp it and I'll.
What did you say? It was 8:54?
Yeah, look in the private chat. The time. Private chat.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it doesn't say my timestamp though for whatever reason when I typed. So.
Exactly an hour ago.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly an hour ago.
Oh,
yeah, you went and you peed in the corner.
Okay, I gotta see it.
Why'd you do that?
Yeah.
Well, I gotta see it first.
Are you so high right now you don't remember?
I know I didn't. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
Look, I've been shit-faced before, but never so shit-faced I didn't remember taking a piss.
That's when I went to grab Elmer Crowley or Crowley to.
Is that what that was?
Oh, okay. Look like you're peeing in the corner. Again.
Sorry to disappoint you, but no.
Ben, you've never been so drunk that you just like wake up in a bathtub full of water, fully dressed, and you're just like, "Damn, I'm glad I made it home alive."
No, I've never like blacked out. Been so shit-faced that I blacked out.
Really?
Ow,
I mean,
really?
that was the defense that I used in court, but it's never actually happened.
Really, I have all the time.
Well, I want to get your everybody's opinion on something. I want to know how whether this should fall under funny or sad. And it's only about 3 minutes long. Okay.
It's probably funny.
Is it?
I think
is-
so.
Oh, weren't we going to talk about Too Many Cooks as well?
Yeah. What is that?
Go ahead,
Oh,
BJ.
that Too Many Cooks is great.
What is it?
Oh, it's like a skit where it's hard to explain. It's a
It's
skit
like
where they
it's a-
basically
It's a
Explore,
sitcom
like-
opening that keeps going.
yeah. It's just a
Forever.
sitcom opening that just keeps going infinitely, and it keeps morphing into different TV shows and different sitcom openings from different eras. And there's like this sort of Lovecraftian element to it, where there's this villain who keeps reappearing and killing people. And like it's
But it's got
it's amazing.
it's amazing. It's like weird, bizarro Adult Swim sitcom thing, and it's
Is it
just
live
got-
action or animated?
It's live action.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there's an animated part though, isn't there?
I think so,
Who-
yeah.
Who produces it?
Yeah, the
I
WandaVision
don't
thing
remember.
reminded me of it.
I can't remember.
I've not heard of that. I'll have to take a
Sounds
look.
like the WandaVision show is just an extended version of it to me. But
No, I don't think so.
They
The
gotta-
WandaVision show is total shit. Like, I mean, it's just so bad. It's like you said earlier. You know, when you're trying to emulate something that's stupid, right? You do such a good job that all it is just stupid, right? Like it's not a parody anymore. It's just stupid. You know?
yeah, it's just really
It's-
accurately stupid.
Yeah.
It's
Aladdin isn't stupid.
Aladdin isn't stupid. No, I know he's not stupid. He's
yeah,
different.
Aladdin is good.
Aladdin is stupid, my friend.
I'm sure
No,
the
he's your hero.
I'm sure the remake with fucking Will Smith as a genie is stupid though.
Oh, do you try to imitate that one?
Nah.
What were you gonna pull up, Jeremy?
What was I going to pull up? What were we talking about?
You said it was. You didn't know if it was funny or sad.
Right now, I'm trying to get Ann back, figure out where she went.
Well,
Why?
okay. Well, while you're waiting,
Derailed.
well, while you're waiting, type in TikTok
Nurses?
McDonald's.
Is
No, TikTok McDonald's sneakers on YouTube.
Wait, hang on. Now I remember what I was looking up. So, all right.
I don't want to see any McDonald's sneakers.
It's probably like it's like the best TikTok I've ever seen. So.
Who the fuck cares if I'm drunk as hell or not anymore? Jackass has put me to fucking hell on fucking wheels for a year and a half, keeping me in Pennsylvania. I couldn't leave if I left, or else I had to breathe in the sobriety link at 3 o'clock every day, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Then a random beep would go off. No matter where I was at, I had to fucking stop whatever I was doing and go to an urgent care to go piss. Then I had to wake up every day with a handful of antidepressant pills that I would have to show Paramount Pictures that I took them and swallowed them every single day. Steve-O has been sober as fuck since 10 years. If he had a breathalyzer, like he's gonna go camping one day and not have any internet reception. He's gonna sleep through one or two. He's got like people. They set me up with such a fucking hard mission that, and then COVID happened for a year against anyone's knowledge. Like, so now
Damn,
I
we're
spent $90,000 in a rehab for 90 days.
Do what, Regina?
Is this Bam Margera? It is. Oh my god.
Who is it?
He was. He's a part of the Jackass crew, which I'm not normally a fan of, other than the band CKY that's tangled up with them, associated with them. But it's a particular turning point at the end of the clip that I want to gauge everyone's opinion.
Okay.
At my expense. I had to go to 30 days in Florida for a rehab at my expense. I had to pay for therapists that they recommended at their expense, but I had to pay for it. I have, I wrote them so many ideas, and if I'm not in the movie and they use my ideas, how do you think that that'll make me feel? The last thing I want to do is be in a courtroom with Jeff fucking Tremaine. I love him. What the fuck, man? I'm not in Jackass 4. If anybody cares about me, don't go see their movie because I will make mine way fucking radder if you just Venmo me $1. Just $1. If you send $100, I'll remember your name and write it down and straight away.
Oh well.
More than that, I'll do more. 10 pounds and fucking Jackass was everything to me. And then now I'm so relieved.
Jesus. I don't think he suffered.
Fuck you, Knoxville. Fuck you, Smith. Fuck you, Jeff. You fuckers never cared about me, man. No, you fucking fuckers.
So he went from.
What the fuck was that?
He went from.
Yeah.
And I'm so relieved. I hear
You don't think that's fake?
No, here's the thing. I do. You know what he did? I can tell you what he did. He took an anabuse pill and then started drinking and then started recording to put them all on a big guilt trip.
Yeah, I mean, it was totally fake.
That's how minds like his work.
I mean,
I don't know why people.
I don't know what the fuck what that was.
yeah, I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand why we watch that, really.
Because he goes from crying and being depressed, like, and I'm so relieved that, and then it's like the puking sensation takes over. It's like he's been invaded by the puke demon.
I mean, but why do we care though? I guess because this is just. I mean,
because he goes from trying to make some poignant statement to puking bile. I mean,
I laughed.
It's sad and funny at the same time, and I wanted to see if anybody felt stronger in one direction or the other.
I just thought it was fake.
It was sad.
I don't feel either way.
I just think it's fake.
Go to YouTube, type in TikTok sneakers McDonald's.
If we start going into like video overload, Gregor's gonna leave. He's gonna leave anyway.
Well, let's see this. Let's see this TikTok video.
Okay, TikTok what?
About sneakers.
This is
TikTok
what I was
McDonald's sneakers.
Is that fucking video reminds me of this trend of TikTok of young people, or just people in general, recording themselves crying for various reasons, for no reasons, and then sharing.
That's what
Can't you people just shit post like you're supposed to on TikTok?
That's what social media and reality TV are for now, is for people to cry and whine and get sympathy. Right?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so is this the one right here?
Well, show me the search results so I can see.
I am.
Show the search results.
No, you're not. We're just looking at your face.
Show the search results so I can see.
Mostly, I just feel sad watching that video because I remember when.
Yeah, that first one is the one. That first one is the one.
And he was what?
He was pretty good looking and he was pretty funny, and it looks he's like looking more like his fucking father every day, which is scary. Jesus, he looks a lot like his father now.
He's got gray hair.
What's that?
He's got gray hair.
Well, gray hair, and just like he's really not looking like he used to.
I think I did piss Ann off.
Yeah, the first one is the one.
I don't think you pissed her off, man. You think that every time.
Trying to talk over everybody to get my point across, and she
just lost the connection. Stop it.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's this? That McDonald's shit.
Yeah, just put that on.
Guys, basically, we're going to be trying to find some sneakers so I can wear to school and impress this girl. So we're going to try to find some
Full screen it.
Okay, there we go. So we're going to try to scroll up here and try to find the video. We're going to try to find the sneakers. Yeah, that'll be great. Let me see if I can find the thing. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. So we're going to try to find the sneakers. I think they're right here somewhere. Okay, right here. The Fortnite sneakers, they look pretty cool. I would wear them to school because they're like blue and green, and I like blue and green because it's a pretty cool color.
That's the best TikTok ever.
That's a pretty good one.
But why would you think I would leave after seeing something like that? I mean, I have no idea really why it's funny.
Everything on the phone is McDonald's.
I think it would be funnier if the dialogue was less fucking unintelligible and stupid. But just
every time it just comes up, it's just like, school!
It's just all the McDonald's shit. I don't know why it's so funny.
He doesn't even mention it. He just keeps talking about the sneakers.
Exactly. It's like, you know what movie I've been thinking about a lot lately is the movie Repo Man from like the 1980s or whatever.
Oh, that movie's
Is that the musical?
awesome.
Is that the musical?
I knew you were gonna love
No.
it, okay?
You're talking about the one from the 80s.
Yeah, the punk rock soundtrack is great, but like everything about that movie is great. And my favorite.
No, he's talking about the Repo, the genetic opera. It's totally different.
Oh yeah.
But my favorite part of the background is where everything in like the grocery store just has like the same blank label, and everything everybody eats just has the same blank label. And I feel like that's kind of like the vibe of the absurdity that I'm getting, because nobody, of course, addresses that fact in the whole movie, and I feel like that was the same thing with the McDonald's thing. And that's why it's funny, Gregor.
I think it's funny that our man Jeremy's history is recommending Trump, Michael Jackson videos. What's going on there, Jeremy?
Oh, that right there.
What else do you recommend?
What's it say? What's the title of it? Put your cursor over it so we can see the title.
Hey, it's recommending the show we're on right now.
Oh.
That's terrible.
No, we're not doing the multiverse. Get off of that.
Well, hey, it's recommending the show we're on right now.
No,
You mean the
get off of
sarcasm?
that.
That's terrible.
Well, hey, it's recommending the show we're on right now.
DJ, Gregor, if either of you want to leave right now, now's a good time.
It figures I would remember how to do it after Zach's.
You know he's jealous right now.
Gregor, if either of you want to leave right now, now's a good time.
You know Zach's just
a few minutes
pissed off reading his theology book now, looking at this. You know he's jealous right now.
Gregor, if either of you want to leave right now, now's a good time.
You know Zach's just pissed off reading his theology book now, looking at this. You know he's jealous right now.
Gregor, if either
Who's saying that? Present Ben or past Ben?
of you want to leave right now, now's a good time.
You know Zach's just pissed off reading his theology book now, looking at this.
Who's saying that? Present Ben or past Ben?
Good job.
So,
Is it
let's
gone?
all agree that
Apparently,
never do that again.
What was that?
yes. What was what?
That hideous shrieking noise. Did BJ run off? Or what?
Are you
No, I'm
still
here.
here, Beach?
Okay.
Yeah.
By some miracle.
Apologies to anyone with headphones.
I guess Anne got abducted or she got mad at me. I don't know which one.
She's probably mad at you.
Yeah, she's abducted. She's in the trunk of some car right now. Just it's fucking wailing.
She's mad at you. You did something. Spend your whole night thinking about what it could be.
Yeah. Think about how you're gonna send flowers to her to apologize.
Oh yeah, you should definitely do that.
So,
Maybe you should record one of those videos where these people whore themselves out to do little short videos.
Cameo.
Yeah, you should do one of those for her.
Yeah.
Can I pay you to do a video for her for a Cameo? Can you get a Cameo account? And I can write a script for you to say to her.
I don't need a cameo to do it.
How much?
Make sure you do a dab at the end. That's the important part.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, how much?
You would pay me to just talk.
To send to send Anna a video message.
Not if it involves like threatening her well-being, because
No.
Well, obviously it's going to.
Yeah, it's like, what, Jeremy? Why would it?
I wouldn't do that. It would be totally in character, like that one speech that I wrote for you to read about working at the fast food place.
yeah. How did you know about some of that? That's
I
He used his imagination.
use my imagination.
How did you know that?
I don't know. I just use my imagination. I just put myself in your shoes and
You're
wrote
an
the
open
story.
book, Jeremy.
Huh?
You're an open book, Jeremy.
No, I'm not.
All right. Look up baddest bitch on TikTok on YouTube now.
No, just look up Biscuit Girl.
No, baddest bitch on TikTok. Trust me.
Look up Biscuit Girl.
We'll do that next.
Okay. I don't know what Biscuit Girl would, come up with, but let's go ahead.
Something worth watching, I assume.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it should. Show me the search results.
When citizen big titty.
Oh, come on. You got to show it.
Wait, no.
You're not showing it. You got to show it.
I'm not trying to.
Let's break on YouTube.
You got to show Stop it. Stop it. So you can show it. Show it on the stream and start it again.
No,
you're not. It's not
We're
on
just
the
looking
screen.
at you.
How long have you been doing this?
We're just looking at your candles, your wall of candles.
There. Now start it at the beginning.
Today we will be creating the bag on TikTok. Look at this show on the road. Hi, I want a bit that can dunk on everybody. Had that bit by when citizen big titty Lil Wayne he'll nigga stallion. All right, let's see. I'm gonna put that bit down. It's I want my bit to be strong as well. Hey, you talking about what?
Is that Wolverine?
My name is Rainy. Take your draw.
Wow.
What am I?
Ben is really amused by things like that, I guess.
When I
She got big titty, little waist.
why is it? I don't understand. She got a
You weren't paying attention.
got mad at me trying to talk over everybody.
What?
Either she got mad at me trying to talk over everybody, or she.
Stop!
Well,
I seriously doubt that she cares.
well, she cared about that one time.
What did she care about that one time?
Well, she came back still, and she.
Not for a few weeks.
Well, she wasn't really a regular at that time.
She was.
I mean, but you can't control her.
Not yet, but I mean, no, I'm joking.
Jeremy, you gotta chill, man.
Yeah, you're acting kind of weird.
I wish that pot was legal in all the states because I feel like you could chill out a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that'd be.
I've got plenty of everything. Don't worry about
If
it.
all the downers he takes doesn't do it, then
Exactly.
nothing's
Yeah.
gonna.
Fortunately, I'm human and have a soul, so it can never dull everything. So,
You say unfortunately or fortunately?
unfortunately,
Unfortunately, you're human and you have a soul. That's what you said.
yeah.
It's
So
kind of a weird thing to say, Jeremy.
all the drugs in the world can't dull
I
everything.
think you should say that at work tomorrow.
Okay.
I fucking wish you could say that at work because it's like I feel like just saying that should be like, oh yes, of course, let me give you all the fucking raises and time off you need for anything because you are human and you do have a soul and you do have inherent dignity and rights that should be unalienable but are. So it's just fuck.
Ben, turn your camera on.
No.
Come on.
No, if I turn it on, I'm gonna whip my dick out, okay? And then I'll get us banned.
But
Do you
nobody
want
cares.
that?
Yes. Regina, did you see him with his shirt off earlier tonight? It was pretty stellar.
I did not see that.
Well, good. What's good about this program is that it's recorded. And you
Mhm.
can
Yeah.
you can scrub back through it tomorrow.
I'll think about
Look,
it.
Look, I know all the women watching are gonna be fucking doing that, but whatever. Don't waste your time. There's better stuff out there that you can find easier.
Anybody else want to take their shirt off?
My shirt's off.
Okay, I don't want you to turn your cam on though.
Okay, yeah.
No, we don't want to. We know that Greg has a goat head, which is gonna, kind of ruin the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say earlier when Jeremy had all the candles up, maybe he was just trying to summon Gregor and keep him bound here because he's like the goat-headed demon.
Yeah.
No, he's not a demon. He just has the goat head.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's just a birth defect.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I never did talk about some of the other stuff I've read this week. I've read.
Well, what'd you read, Jeremy? What'd you read?
I already spoke about self-storage, right?
Yeah.
The shirt of the werewolf.
You spoke at length about it.
Okay.
Yeah. You get off the screen though. Who wants to see this stuff?
What?
The baddest bitch on TikTok.
Yeah, we don't want to see this TikTok. Okay, there you go. We can see your face again now. Go ahead. Look at your face.
Yeah, just staring off like a fucking cow chewing its cud.
Okay, so
You read Stuck on Me.
Finished book 5 in the Whiteout series, which is, I was talking about how, there are a bunch of authors that are doing that whole, spring or summer turns into a winter nightmarish blizzard overnight that won't stop, and there are monsters and wraiths around and shit. Multiple authors are working on that concept right now. But Flint Maxwell is already up to book 5, just 2 or 3 years into it. And while he closed out on a somewhat good note, it still wasn't anywhere near as action-packed as book 4 was. I mean, seriously, he had me on the edge of my seat at the end of book 4.
So he carries this concept of winter coming unexpectedly and lasting for a long ass time for 5 books.
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yes, because it's a supernatural.
Is it like ghost snowflakes?
Yeah.
Haunted blizzards.
And then, of course, there was Stuck on You, which we had Jasper on a few months back, talking about Crystal Lake Publishing and how he submitted this, I guess with his resume to Crystal Lake Publishing, about a guy who meets up with a drug mule girl, and she's transporting something that was implanted surgically, and Well, I mean, it's not a spoiler because it's the synopsis.
Right. He also talked about it on the show.
Lightning strikes them directly, and so they are cauterized together in mid-coitus. And so you get to see him struggling, to make any headway, getting back to the car, staying
What position
alive.
are they in?
Huh?
What position are they in? 'Cause
Missionary.
That's kind of
Missionary,
important.
it's straight
Oh,
missionary.
okay, right.
But the problem is it ended too soon. I mean, I'm not going to reveal.
What do you mean, like he had premature ejaculation?
No,
No,
I'm not going to reveal.
it's funny.
I'm not going to reveal what kind of cargo she was carrying in her body. But let's just say,
Okay.
What, she was
It was
pregnant?
unique.
Huh?
What, she was pregnant?
She had a baby on board.
Prego
It's
sex.
something better. It's
That went badly.
thing.
Have you read it, Regina?
I did read that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so you know what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah. It's
So,
really fucked
Don't
up.
you think that it ended too soon?
Yeah, I felt like you could have turned it into like a novella or even a novel if you really wanted to get in depth with like the trauma of the horror and make it kind of like The Revenant with what's his face?
Yeah, because of the
DiCaprio.
bear eating. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so the character who texts on her phone,
Uh-huh.
he didn't even. I mean, we didn't get to see more of that. We didn't get to see what that interaction was going to look like. We didn't get to. I mean, there was more to be added. It should be a full length. This story is not finished, and I'm going to personally call on Jasper Bark and tell him, dude, you got to finish this. It's not done yet. You got to get him out of the woods, man. You got to get him out of her. Cooch alive.
Why?
Just say why.
Yeah.
Because he's going to die if he doesn't. And we've got to see what develops when that person who texts her dead body on her phone, when he shows up tracing the position, their GPS position, we got to see how he's going to react to what he sees. This story is not done. Jasper,
Okay, well,
hear me.
we'll get Jasper back on here and talk to him about it.
Yeah, damn right.
Yeah, we'll
Follow
get it.
the account for his actions.
Yeah, we'll get him to come on here and browbeat him to make it longer.
Now,
Yeah.
this is one that's not going to be popular at all, and I don't care. I already told you I was reading this series about anthropomorphic animals in a sort of Game of Thrones in space type thing. Right? Yeah. No. I totally get that it's lowbrow garbage tier, entertainment, and the covers are not that impressive. But I don't care. It's still well written for what it is. It's better than Brian Jacques' Redwall series.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
I haven't
swear
even
it is.
fucking touched it. And
It's an R-rated Redwall series, I swear. So you were a fan of Brian Jacques Redwall,
I'm
right?
a huge fan. I grew up reading Redwall. I feel like, honestly, low-key, this fantasy series I'm writing right now is like a large percentage Redwall influence.
So you got talking animals too?
No, there's no talking animals. It's not Redwall. It's more like Dungeons and Dragons and the Ring Cycle kind of together in a
Why do you
mash.
think that anthropomorphic animals are such a mainstay in literature for the last 15 years?
Well, Carl Jung talks about how animals are unconscious and like unexplored and unrealized concepts in the mind. So it's kind of like a backdoor way of exploring concepts within the self. And so a lot of times when you dream about animals, you're dreaming about, unconscious drives and things that can't really be expressed in a conscious verbal or conscious thinking way yet. So I feel like that's kind of partly why, just from a symbolic standpoint, you see a lot of anthropomorphic animals, because it's like these things are also kind of developments on fairy tales. I mean, I feel like Brian Jacques Redwall is very influenced by just fairy tales in general of, talking animals and shit, which again kind of goes back to that same symbolism that it's using. So I don't know. Your mileage may vary. That's just my opinion, man.
So I made it through volume 2 and 3 of this, admittedly, like borderline popcorn fare entertainment with talking animals at war with each other in space. Yeah, and I don't
Degenerate furry space
There's no
opera.
need to apologize for it. If you like that stuff, you like it.
I don't even care. I gave them both 5 stars. Winter
I mean,
Tiger is a
You're
real
also reading this, undead horror book over there on the right, so
right here.
Fuck yeah.
And but this right here is my favorite character right now, Night Badger.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what the hell that is. What is this? The water tiger? What's that?
Winter Tiger.
Oh, I thought it was the water.
He's the main
tiger.
antagonist. He's a real son of a bitch. He's disappointed if any of his soldiers make it back alive from certain battles. Like if they don't, if they come back without any scratches on them, he will have them killed on principle.
And is that an anthropomorphic thing too, or what is going on?
Yes. And Night Badger, this dude's seriously badass. He has like twin axes made of emerald, and he's offering counsel to like the princely wolf, who's the main character of the series, and most of the time he's right. I guess he's like a Yoda, only like more, up in the bad guy's grill than Yoda was,
Yeah, more in your face Yoda. That sounds good.
I'm gonna get L.A. Frederick on here, man. Come hell or high water. Yeah, because I want to talk about this. Yeah, this puts Brian Jacques' work to shame. I swear it is, because these characters are just more alive to me than anything from Brian Jacques' world, except for maybe Martin the Warrior.
Oh, that one's so good.
Yeah,
I fucking love those books so much. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it just kind of depends on whether or not you personally connect with the world of Redwall. For me, Redwall is like baby's first, kind of Beowulf or something, whereas
baby's first Beowulf. That's a great,
yeah, it is. It's like it kind of introduces you to the tropes that you can expect in fantasy stories, but with talking animals as your warriors and paladins and pirates and shit. And it's like, that's awesome, So it's just,
I've never read it.
wow, really? Oh man,
No.
I think Netflix is gonna do an animated series, so don't watch that. Just read the first.
No, I won't. Just trust me.
Watership Down is another.
I like Watership Down. That was a good book.
Plague Dogs was pretty good.
I was just gonna bring up Plague Dogs, son of a bitch, BJ. It is just so depressing, isn't it? Oh my god.
Yeah, I'd like to read that. I've not read
So
that.
I bet it ends badly, huh?
Oh.
These dogs got the plague, man.
I fucking just hate Plague Dogs so much. I actually haven't seen Watership Down because after my mother had me watch Plague Dogs when I was like, I don't know, fucking 10, I just haven't been the same, and I fucking hate movies that are about animals because I feel like they're all emotionally manipulative and exploitative.
Watership Down would do the same thing to you, yeah.
It's like, no fucking thank you.
Yeah,
I hate it when they've got to make the dog whimper, like for being curious, or it's like, or the monster gets the dog or the cat. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna really struggle if I ever decide to read Red by Jack Ketchum. Oh God. I remember Zach had read that and talked about it. Huh?
Can I tell you a fucking hot take real quick? I fucking hate John Wick. I hate those movies.
I know the dog. Yeah.
Well, it's not just the dog. It's like this dude fucking murders all these people because of a dog, man. And it's like these people in the universe of John Wick have families and lives and friends.
Yeah, but they threw
I'm not sure if the universe.
I mean, for me, like John Wick is like an action movie, like boiled down to its like very bare bones, which I guess is why I find it so entertaining. Like there's no pretense. It's like barest excuse for badass to go start killing people.
That's my problem, though, man. It's like this fucking culture of people.
You don't like dogs.
No, I do like dogs, but it's like this culture of like, there's like this bad trope I feel like of the kind of autistic Travis Bickle modeled anti-hero who or like the Ryan Gosling in Drive and all these different variations. There's one that's like the accountant that's like that, and there's another one. There's like all these different movies where it's about like a really angry kind of lone wolf asshole alpha male or sigma male, I guess is the new thing that they're calling it.
Can we not?
Yeah.
Can we not what?
Can we not use that sigma male bullshit?
What the hell is that?
Because fuck Vox Day.
Yeah, it's a new fucking incel red pill term where the sigma male is someone like John Wick who is not an alpha male because he does not fall into the categories of the traditional.
He doesn't play
alpha.
by the rules.
Yeah, he doesn't fall into the categories, man. But he's still sexually attracted to women, so there. But he's not. He's equal to the alpha.
That bullshit came from Vox Day, who's a fucking horrible person, and I would prefer he not exist at all.
Yeah, I can fucking definitely understand. All of red pill culture from there's just some real fucking crazy shit out there, but this is a good example of like people get so obsessed with labels and how do I fit into society and how do I
It's like all of that, the alpha beta shit that came from bad science involving wolves in captivity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
They didn't understand how wolves actually interacted because
Yeah.
they weren't able to observe them properly at night. And they finally figured out that they were just families. That there wasn't this kind of dynamic where one was just dominating the others. They were just family units.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
My understanding is that it happened because they were observing wolves who were in captivity, but wolves in nature do not act that way. What is that?
Sounds like a plane overhead or something.
So what's the feeding about, Jeremy?
That was the winter in the dead of summer.
Oh, that was another. Oh, okay. Was that what that is? What were the other two things you had up there?
What are the things?
I don't know. You had a bunch of books up there. What were they? I don't want to talk about Vox Day or fucking social sexual hierarchy bullshit.
Who brought up Vox Day?
What's that?
Who brought up Vox Day?
Nobody.
Because someone brought up
directly
Sigma
necessarily did.
Someone brought up Sigma male, so I had to point out that bullshit came from Vox Day, who's a terrible person in every way.
Been up with anything in the news /
Yeah, I'm on a news fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, pull up the
we'll get it back
books.
here. I already talked about Electra's Revenge at length. You talking about that right there?
Okay, you had the feeding and what's Motel Office?
Well, it's the complete Motel Man series.
What is that?
Yeah, that's from Jordan Crawl.
Little, I mean, they're chat books, I guess. I don't consider them like books on the same way that we talk about books, and that's not to insult him. I just think that he holds back. He doesn't give us everything we need for what the stories he's capable of writing and was capable of writing. He's going to interpret this as me talking shit if he hears this, but I promise I'm not. Anyway, something very interesting did happen when I was reading this. Motel Man chat book off Dino Talks Ministries. It's like a mail order site that he runs from Store Envy. Mm-hmm. It's like he's very much into this idea of anti-plot, is it, or anti-narrative or something? Ben, what is it, Ben?
Yeah, they're very. I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but yes, they're very atmospheric and experimental.
So something very interesting happened though, and I think maybe he even did it on purpose, where he was being just elusive enough with language that I thought I read the word murder in a paragraph. And then I only to snap out of it and go back. You know, because it's like I could have swore I saw the word murder in that paragraph. And just to go back and go pour over every word to realize there was no mention of the word murder in there. And I think that he was almost working some kind of subconscious literary magic there with that. I don't know.
Psychic driving, I think is what it's called.
Are you serious? Is that a term?
Psychic driving is a term, but it's not really related to what you're saying.
No.
You've heard people say about musicians and some authors, it's just as much about what they don't say as what they do say.
Right.
I swear, I think that he wrote it. He crafted the paragraph to look a certain way to where you subconsciously think the word murder,
or like a magic eye type of thing.
Yeah.
That's an interesting concept. I like it.
He's into some weird concepts anyway, like his False Magic Kingdom series. I don't know why he prizes it above everything he wrote in Bizarro, like that is so much better, like Tentacle Death Trip, which he hates, or Squid Pulp Blues or something. For some reason, though, he thinks False Magic Kingdom is the best thing he's ever written, or at least he did it one time. I don't know.
I've never read anything by him. I'll have to try it.
Well, it's a mixed bag, but I don't know. Penetralia is a good, like, midway, like, transition novel that he wrote, like when he was kind of weaning himself off of writing Bizarro and then going straight into writing his weird offbeat anti-narrative stuff. Hey, Ann. Hey,
it's for horses ass by it, as my mother used to say.
I think somebody just came in to goad me or something.
Well, my mother still says it.
There.
Give her a minute.
She probably
I don't know if
hates
she
you.
can hear us. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
She's
trying
very
to.
mad. Yeah, tell Jeremy how mad you are at him.
Yeah. I can't hear anything. So what's the
She
deal?
can't even speak.
Why can't I hear you?
Said Russell.
Okay, I can hear you now. Okay, so I thought that maybe, like you did with Phoenix that one time, you got mad because you couldn't get a word in or something and left.
No, that was just the one time, and that was a special case. That was a whippersnapper moment. But no, God, you guys missed it. It's really too bad I ran out of batteries because you guys missed me actually pulling my knife on somebody.
Are you
What
serious?
happened?
Wow.
Well, I was in this one sort of empty stretch of just street and palm trees with desert all around it. That's right before where I turned to get to my house safe. And, I was kind of trying to make good time because I wanted to get back on the show. But, I had a backup battery, but it didn't charge today for some reason. Anyway, I'm on this completely empty stretch, pretty dark, just palm trees and a curve. And this car does what drivers do when they want to pick up a woman on the sidewalk as a prostitute. Just stops in the middle of nowhere.
Hello?
Right in my path, so that I have to walk past him to get to where I'm going. And you know how I like walk all over for no reason on purpose as a hobby?
Yeah.
Well, for some reason, when somebody gives me a pain in the ass when I'm walking, all of a sudden I get really lazy. And I all of a sudden now I don't want to walk half a block out of my way. So instead of just backtracking and going back to the more populous block that I had just left, I decided that I didn't want to deal with this person, but I didn't want to change my course because I was almost home. So I just pulled out, this big switch knife that I got for free for filling out some political survey during the election. It says Trump 2020 on it, so now it's just a big I lost stick. But it was free and it's huge and it's really frightening looking.
And it's a Trump 2020 knife.
Yeah. Like Trump 2020 killer switchblade. It's pretty long and it's pretty visible. So I just step under the street light and I pull out my Trump 2020 knife and I flip it out like flip it out, making sure that the person in the car can see me pull out this knife. And start walking towards the car with the knife in my fist, just facing in the direction of like where you would scramble their aorta together if you poke right under their sternum. And like I've never seen somebody drive off that fast in my life. Just like window rolls up, floors it.
So you're out in the desert brandishing knives.
Yeah. Oh man, we missed it. Ann almost had to stab a bitch.
Now BJ's really nervous because he's like, wow, I thought she was joking about that violent shit. But
She's very far away from you, BJ. Don't worry.
No, it's okay. I'm not worried.
And she can't fly anyway. She's on a no-fly list.
Yeah, there's the whole
that's the
travel
best-
van
that's the
protecting me, so that's cool.
Right, exactly.
I mean, Ann's going stir crazy and getting tired of fucking people thinking she's a prostitute just because she walks everywhere.
yeah, exactly. Thank you, Ben. Someone came to my defense. I don't know if BJ's ever been to America or if any of the rest of you have ever been to
I
the
have.
godforsaken hell pit that is our largest state.
I've only been to New Orleans.
Well, see, walking is still a normal human activity in New Orleans. In California, even though, people who want to be in the movie industry are obsessed with fitness here and drive to their gym every day, nobody walks anywhere because walking means you're a poor.
Well, yeah.
Why are you walking on the street? Are you poor?
It's impossible. It's like to get anywhere in California, you have to take 1 billion highways. And, best case scenario, it's going to be an area where it's a bunch of big concrete shopping centers where you have to then march from shopping center to shopping center to get wherever the fuck you're going. It's like, Jesus, yeah, there's no way to live really in California comfortably, certainly, without having a car. And then the traffic is just, I've never seen anything like it. It's so scary. I hate it. I hate going through California.
Yeah, it's absolutely lose-lose. You're absolutely right. If you have a car here, it's miserable. If you don't have a car here, it's miserable.
Yeah.
California was just like, oh, cars are the future. We don't have to design for walkability or public transportation.
It was the road
Right.
lobby, wasn't it?
I don't
What's
know.
that?
They're probably. There was probably
They
lobbies
just-
involved.
I think there were lobbies involved that crippled any possible public transport network that they may have created there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The
So what
upshot of
were
it
they
is,
trying to do? They were trying to proposition you.
well, see, the upshot of it is, I moved to California because I got attacked in Chicago and had to get away from the person, and I made a lot of stupid decisions because I had PTSD, and I wound up here, and I am very stubborn, and I love walking, and I love beautiful scenery, and I love warm weather. And if it weren't for the horrible design, California would be a perambulator's paradise. The weather's perfect. The mountains are perfect. The sky is perfect. The palm trees are perfect. But no one fucking walks anywhere. And if you do walk, you can kind of get around all the places where the jackasses have built their garden over the sidewalk. You can kind of walk. But if you're a female and you're walking, and particularly if you're a white female, everyone thinks you're a prostitute.
Yeah. I mean, look how much you look like a prostitute with your tits spilling out of that right now.
Yeah. My cotton sweater with stripes like a whore.
I mean, that's just it. That's just a neon sign right above you saying prostitute.
Yeah, I mean, I've just as an experiment, I've tried actually walking down the street in a bikini, and there's no increase in people's assumption that I'm a prostitute if I'm like it's the same percentage of cars that slow down and and it's not just people who are looking for a prostitute, it's also people who are upset about prostitutes.
Lovely.
Like this, the other night, I almost caught it on camera. This crazy woman who clearly is a meth head bothers to like come down out of her apartment and walk into the street and yell at me for being a whore. And she's like following me down the street, harassing me. And I'm just like, is this better or worse than the guys who like stop and honk and wave $20 at me? I really don't know.
You should start carrying.
And so I finally turned around and I yelled at her something like, well, I'm not a prostitute, but you're clearly on meth. And obviously this struck a nerve because she just like looked at me in terror and then looked all around us in paranoia and scurried back up into her apartment.
You should start carrying flashbangs around so next time a car stops and fucking rolls its window down, you just toss a flashbang inside of it.
That would be awesome. But, you know, tonight I got clothes. And now that I'm safe at home, I can't believe I had the balls to do that. Like, I just calmly pull up my switchblade and, like, right in aorta mashing position. You want to see?
Can we see the switchblade?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can even see the humiliating...
Jen, you're going to cut it.
Yeah, you can even see the humiliating, like, candidate who lost political slogan on it. This is like the switchblade version of people who are still wearing John Kerry bumper stickers on their cars. Yeah. In like,
would it be like extra humiliating to get stabbed by?
Yeah.
I think
it's like, here, I'll use your blood to paint over the Trump 2020 part. That is a pretty long knife. I'd be scared if someone was coming at me with that. They seriously gave you that for completing a survey?
Yep.
I didn't know they could do that.
That's those things are totally illegal here.
That's technically not a switchblade; it's a flip blade, which is, I think, switchblades are illegal in a lot of places here. But you could still do damage to someone with that.
Yeah, I can still get through the breastbone. Okay, I think.
Yeah, just make sure it's at the side so you can get through the ribs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like I think about these things a lot or anything. But, I don't know what you do in Australia when someone tries to pick you up as a prostitute and you're sick of it.
I assume you just do the same, except you pull out one of those Crocodile Dundee knives.
Yeah, I was just about to say. You know,
I'm sure Australians love it when Crocodile Dundee gets brought up.
I thought you were saying that BJ was in Australia.
Gregor, it's almost midnight. You good?
Yeah.
You got to go.
Yeah,
I gotta go.
I figured that all Australians carry around Crocodile Dundee knives everywhere.
Oh, BJ's not here anymore?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
He's not in Australia, though. You're not in Australia, are you?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Oh, are you? Oh, okay. I didn't know you were. Okay.
Well, is that true, BJ? Do all Australians carry around those giant Crocodile Dundee knives?
Nice.
No, I would have bigger ones.
What'd you say?
Wow, that was so meta. I think my head just exploded and I'm not even aware of it yet.
He's carrying around short machetes around.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen Mad Max, right?
Yeah. Well, I assume that Mad Max was I assume that Mad Max is a documentary of what Australians do when they get lost in the outback.
A toned down kind of documentary. The other guy, a guy on a motorcycle, in a gimp mask, tried to steal my Uber Eats. So
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
I do confess that sometimes when I chat with Simon McCarty, I like think of the Simpsons episode where Bart calls long distance to Australia to find out which way the toilet flushes. And then he tells the boy to go check at his neighbor's house. And so the boy leaves the phone off the hook and he gets out on a bicycle or whatever. And he starts riding off into the distance. So I always picture Simon is living in this house in the middle of nowhere. Like this small Australian boy in The Simpsons.
Yeah, I think Australians are especially insulted by that episode because they didn't even bother to do enough research to take the piss out of us properly. So if they
Like,
had actually made fun of us about something we actually did, or some aspect of our culture that actually existed, it wouldn't have been so bad. But they just couldn't even be stuffed, like reading a single book. So they just pulled it all out of their asses.
they
I mean,
really
a friend of mine. I used to have a friend who lived in Australia, and he was a big fan of Chopper Read. So he would always show me like Chopper Read stuff, especially that parody that was on the one TV show.
The movie is really good. The Chopper movie. It's great with Eric Bana. And Chopper's actually, some of his books are pretty funny.
Yeah, I kind of want to read one of them.
The first one's pretty solid.
Yeah, because he wrote a bunch of them.
He wrote like 20. It was crazy.
Yeah. He just turned a whole franchise out of his criminal career. And he really wasn't a criminal that long, was he?
Yeah. He was, for pretty much, most of his life, really.
Oh no, wait. Yeah, he was for a pretty long time. I was thinking of someone else. But he did get a lot of material out of it.
Yeah. There was a quote on one of his books that was like one of the best blurb quotes I've ever seen, and it was from like one of the prison officers, and it was something like, Chopper Read has done for literature what Hannibal Lecter has done for like fine dining, or something like that. Which I thought that is just so cool. But, yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Chopper was he was like a career criminal in Australia. I think he's most famous for the fact that while he was in prison, he had someone chop off his ears so he could get transferred to a lower level security part of the prison.
Yeah, I think he was pretty sure he was going to get murdered, so chopping his ears off to get transferred was the only way. So obviously chopping your ears off is better than getting murdered. So yeah, he chose the lesser of two evils. And then he advertised sunglasses, which was quite hilarious.
Well, sunglasses were his trademark. He
was in an advertising campaign for these sunglasses that obviously wrapped quite tightly around your head because he didn't have the ears to keep them on.
Oh my God.
I didn't see that, but I did see the commercial he did for domestic violence.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I know he had his own craft beer for a while, but that didn't really work out.
He actually did. He had his own rap album too. It was mostly not him rapping. It was mostly other rappers.
Yeah, he was a character.
Yeah. I think he was he was probably what most Americans think Australians are like.
Oh, okay. That's not as, I'd prefer them to think we're like Chopper than like Crocodile Dundee. At least Chopper was funny.
Yeah, I didn't even think that movie was funny when I was a small child, and small children will laugh just because someone farts.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you going to say, Regina?
Oh no, I was gonna say my SO has a couple of friends that he met on like, I don't know, a cruise or something a bunch of years ago, and it's this gay couple from Australia who are like all into the opera and the theater, and they're like super theater snobs, and they have this policy of if they're enjoying something, they leave at intermission because they believe there's no way Act 2 can ever follow up with Act 1. So they're like these fucking just total assholes. But
wow. That's the most fucked up excuse or translation of I'm always too shit-faced by intermission to remember the rest that I've ever heard.
I get the feeling that's probably what it is. But so in my mind, there's like most Australians are actually like one of the gay guys from Will and Grace, I guess, because of stories about this couple and their snobbery.
Actually, one of my favorite like musicians that I reviewed when I was working for the Chicago Reader is from Australia. I still keep in touch with him every now and then. I mean, surely you all know each other. Do you listen to Space March?
Totally. Totally. You must
Gregor's dropped out.
Yeah, Gregor's gone.
When did that?
Gregor's Greg is gone. You made him mad. He's mad at you.
Yeah.
I think he was just staying to hear whether I was going to prison or not.
Not yet. Not today.
Not today. Not today.
Hey BJ, I was gonna ask you, by the way,
Yeah.
isn't the artist behind the cover of Unwithering Flower, is that not the same person that did Aaron Beauregard's covers? Am I wrong? I can't remember.
Which covers?
Aaron Beauregard.
Oh, right. Yeah, I think so. I found out about this guy from Simon. His name's Anton Rosovsky.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. He's good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really interesting, and it's interesting to see how his style has developed. I fucking love the cover of Unwithering Flower. Did you just like have that vision in your head and tell him to do that? Because that's like wonderful.
Yeah, basically.
Love that.
I mean, yeah, I kind of feel bad telling an artist exactly what to paint, but in that instance, that I think that's like sort of how he works with those types of commissions. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, no, it really was like fantastic, very evocative. Really, to me, is very attention grabbing and draws the eye, and I love it. I think really I've learned the power of a custom painted cover for a book. I think beyond anything else.
Yeah, I tried to symbolically represent the elements of the story, which is harder to do. Yeah, I successfully did it that time, but I struggle with other ones.
Yeah, it's fucking hard. I have such a hard time with covers. I was really lucky with my original pen name. Working with Nuno Moreira really made the process a lot more bearable. He's a great graphic designer and photographer and artist from Portugal, and he like just produces the most fantastic, just like cool collage artwork and like really tight, just really interesting designs. And I can like give him a book and be like, I don't know. And he'll like be like, okay, and he'll read the first 100 or 200 pages, and he'll turn around and give me 3 concepts that just blow me away every time. And then I pick my favorite, and he makes adjustments accordingly. But he also did the cover of Industrial Divinity. That's one of his paintings under the Regina Watts pen name. And it's like it's just, man, a good artist does everything for a book. I feel like for the cover and for just the delivery. He did the typesetting for Industrial Divinity's paperback too. He's great.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I like the cover for that one.
I love it. It's beautiful. It's so wonderful. He really captured something about the book. It's like, you've read that one, right?
Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah, it was a fun one. It's like it was a weird predictive model of the Regina Watts career a little bit, I think. So I really feel like his artwork kind of sets it apart from the rest of her catalog, and I feel like that really is nice. He's going to do a cover for Familiarity eventually when it comes out, but I keep
what's that?
Oh man, that's a really long project that I need to edit. It's been written since the beginning of 2020, but obviously things kind of like went off topic then, so I've been having trouble getting back to it because I was trying to decide if I should make various creative changes based on the way shit has changed, but I think I'm just going to leave it mostly as is and edit it pretty much plainly.
What's the concept?
It's about it is about a libertine abortionist whose niece moves in with him following the death of her father, who is about to be indicted on charges relating to the dissemination and ownership of child pornography. And there's an FBI agent who gets involved from like an angle of investigating kind of a conspiracy, and the girl's school librarian gets involved from an angle of wanting to take care of her. And then the girl's libertine abortionist uncle kind of gets involved and says, I'm going to teach you how to seduce some people. And so kind of this dangerous liaisons plot ensues, but it also turns out he's like, maybe, possibly, like he's at least very deeply channeling a certain pre-Canaanite god, but he's like, also maybe that god, question mark, is definitely
Pre-Canaanite god. Okay.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So I'm, looking forward to editing it and finally getting it off my plate. But it's like 370,000 words unedited, so I really have to kind of try to trim it down.
Yeah, I think my longest one is like 230, so
yeah,
370. It's pretty.
It got really out of
But
hand.
if it's, I don't know, like one of my favorite books is Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Oh yeah,
Which is a classical Chinese novel. I think that's like 380, 400.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I
Sometimes
think,
really long books are just the best because you just kind of get to crawl into them and just be there for like weeks.
yeah, I feel
So
yeah, I feel. See, the thing is, I worked on this book pretty much the whole time I was working at the library. And so because of that, there were a lot of days where I needed to write something to keep up my schedule of writing every day, but I didn't really know what I needed to write. So I just kind of wrote in the book until I came to something, So I feel like there's some fat I can trim for sure. But it's hard because I keep having, it's like with the Burning Soul fantasy novel. Man, you guys, this book, I wasn't able to get properly excited about it the other day because I was so fucking tired. But this book continues to do really well, and I'm so excited. And I'm really happy, and I've been working my tail feather off trying to get book 2 finished. It's
The harem romance thing, is that?
Yeah, man. It's going absolutely bananas still.
Is it? Are we talking Monster Girl territory, or have you written the Monster Girl thing yet?
There's not really any Monster Girl stuff in this necessarily. I don't know. Dottie's kind of a Monster Girl a little bit. I feel like she definitely has the shrinking thing in one of the standalones. But I've done like Selkie. Selkie is a little bit of a Monster Girl thing. But in the harem is more of just like a Dungeons and Dragons setting with like a ring cycle type plot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the snake.
that was brought to you courtesy of Uncle Void. Or should I actually turn the volume up on it?
no.
No,
No,
trust
because
me.
you're playing. Because you're,
It takes a lot to make a stew.
Is that Limp Bizkit?
Yeah.
yes.
I was
It's
talking
Limp
to
Bizkit.
someone the other day, and we both concluded that Limp Bizkit was literally the worst band in existence.
I wouldn't go that far, but they were pretty shit.
Did you know that Durst is an anagram
why
of
would
turds?
Yeah, that's turds.
Yeah, it's very true.
Can't
As
argue
was
with
his music.
reality.
He actually spent time working on that. Somebody actually spent time working on that.
He made one with my face melting off.
That one was better. Yeah.
The snake
No
part was cool.
regrets. No regrets. That was great.
Well, okay. Too Many Cooks. What did you want to say about it, Regina?
No, I was just singing it a little bit because I couldn't hear Limp Bizkit, so I was just filling void with some music.
Yeah, Too Many Cooks is pretty good. I actually think I like either unedited footage of a bear or This House Has People in it better.
Those are pretty good too. It's really interesting what Adult Swim has kind of become over the years. I was thinking about how it started out, and it was just mostly like anime and shit and Metalocalypse and home movies. And now
Metalocalypse was cool.
I miss Metalocalypse. I've been listening, actually, a couple of songs from Metalocalypse are on my soundtrack.
Yeah.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force is still my all-time favorite.
I used to love to watch the Boondocks because it was so politically incorrect and it's like trashed every sacred cow of the left. Man, I just loved that. Oh,
The Boondocks was pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, it was good up until Aaron McGruder left. Then
it sucked after he left.
Yeah.
What do you mean? The actual creator of the show?
Yeah.
He sold it, didn't he?
Jeez.
He sold the property to.
Well, he was still involved in it for like, I don't know, the first 2 seasons, I think. And then the 3rd season he left, and then it sucked.
Mike Tyson Mysteries, I think, is pretty funny.
Mike Tyson Mysteries?
I don't think I ever saw that.
An Adult Swim show. It's pretty funny.
Javier Renegade Angel was pretty good.
I miss Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
You know what?
I watched that before Adult Swim started.
Me too.
Why don't we just we're occupying that space in the show where it's like we're running on fumes, and so we barely even know what we're talking about anymore. Why don't we use this time to pitch totally off the wall, like story ideas?
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
Okay, how about a story where a woman wakes up to find that her boobs and her butt have switched places?
Wow.
You should write it tomorrow.
Boob gaslighting.
What's the title?
I don't have a fucking title for that.
Oh, hello, kitty.
Heil Stumpler.
The Third Reich. The leader of the Third Reich.
The Third Reich.
He's looking over here like
The fur.
another cat.
Yeah.
And it's like putting out a paw instead of a hand.
For those uninitiated in the origins of Stumpler's name, he has a stump instead of a tail, and he has Hitler facial hair, so he's Stumpler.
He likes the attention.
He does. He does.
Do you have any cats, BJ?
No.
Aw, poor thing.
Everywhere.
Do you have any animals at all, or do you just?
No.
I don't either. That's why I'm a miserable alcoholic.
You don't even have a kangaroo? You all have kangaroos.
Oh yeah. Well, actually,
he probably just has the kangaroo to ride to work.
we eat the kangaroos, so they don't last long.
I've always wanted to ask Simon this, so I'll ask you this. Is it really hard to keep the kangaroos out of your bloomin' onion bush? Or
The onions fatten them up for devouring, so that's fine.
How do you feel about Ozploitation?
Sorry.
Oh, well, that was like you mean the films?
Yeah.
Well, that was like a golden age of Australian cinema because there was some kind of like tax write-off and loads of movies got made here. Most of them were shit, but at least we had a film industry then. And now, like, obviously there's not much happening. It's like tumbleweeds, but yeah.
Razorback was a good one.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Dead End Drive-In was a great one.
Yeah.
What else?
Oh, that's a brilliant idea. Man, most of our tax write-offs in the United States are for if you give to a charity. But if you like help, you should get tax write-offs for like helping people make films or write books or.
Well, there are.
They've got something like that in Louisiana, right? That's why there's so much stuff shot in Louisiana now.
Yeah, there are certain states that'll give you a write-off if you're doing films, and places like Canada, they'll actually like give you grants to like make films and shit.
Yeah, Canada even give their writers free ISBNs. That's not fair.
What?
Yeah.
That's so lame. I mean, that's cool, but
I don't know.
Well, that's really great. That's basically incentivizing people to be patrons of the art.
Yeah.
Instead of just patronizing poor children. Wait till they get up and they grow up and they have hopes and dreams, and then help them out. Not when they, just need books for stupid school.
That's yeah. But no. Everybody like leave a weird story pitch idea in the jar on the way out. Come on. Ben did the whole breast and butt rearrangement thing. Who was it that this happens to?
At some woman.
Okay.
Do you really think I've thought beyond that?
I mean, I've already donated. I gave you guys the idea where like telepathy is a real thing, so everyone's constantly suing each other over intellectual property rights.
Yeah, and the mind would be treated like real estate from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, people who develop like images through PR teams and stuff, that would be like they would be like real estate agents instead of PR teams.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like I can buy you fandom in like 60,000, preteen sub-average minds this weekend. You just got to do a little something for me.
Yeah. So,
Regina, what's your idea?
It's the story of a writer who doesn't like to give ideas for free.
This is
He
like
walks out of the chat early. Don't make me make it nonfiction.
This is like a campfire setting. This is different.
This is.
So, Regina, would this be a roman play by any chance?
What did you say?
So would this be a roman play by any chance?
I don't know.
Or am I saying it the right way for an English speaker? Roman a clef?
Oh, I don't actually know.
That's
I
when
don't know
you.
what that is.
That's basically like a novel based on real life, but you switch people's names around.
Oh,
Right.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to play along with your joke, but
Yes,
I'm
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm an uncultured swine who dropped out of college because it was just too miserable of an experience for me.
You and your fancy French froggy language bullshit.
Well, actually, I dropped out of college too, but I learned to speak French because I'm an alcoholic, and there are lots of bars in France.
Oui.
So who else has a bad story idea to put in the jar?
BJ, what's your idea?
Oh man, I'll just try and. What's one I'll just never bother writing? Let me think. Oh, that's right. It's like someone goes to an alternate dimension where human beings evolved from bonobo monkeys, and it's basically like it's like human society. It's like our society, except everyone's just they resolve everything by just fucking. So yeah,
everybody just going to town on each other's holes all day.
You're not going to believe this, but in the early aughts, I had that fantasy all the time.
Well, that's because that's the kind of like cliche that people always say. Oh, bonobo monkeys. They don't like chimpanzees. We're supposed to be closer to chimpanzees than bonobos, and chimpanzees are kind of mean. Like they twist each other's limbs off, and they're kind of cruel. And people say, but bonobo monkeys, right? They're so loving. If we were evolved from them, we wouldn't have war and genocide and murder. But I don't know. If you think about the implications, it's almost kind of worse.
Yeah.
Because
we also wouldn't have written language. We'd be too busy fucking.
And they just fuck everything that moves in every hole. Like, I don't know if you've seen documentaries on these monkeys, but yeah.
These are the coolest monkeys ever right here. Have you ever seen the proboscis?
That would be great.
The
proboscis
monkeys?
The ones that look like
Capuchin.
I mean, they look like a late night talk show host.
Really do.
Big nose.
They look like W.C. Fields.
Yeah. The proboscis monkey is like the polite way of saying the dick nose monkey, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They look like
they look like W.C. Fields.
or
this.
Yeah, or they look like the old school Jewish people.
Oh.
Go away! Go sit in the corner, Jeremy. Go sit in that corner that you pissed in. Go sit in the corner. No,
okay,
we're not
you don't
doing
get
that.
to get me for threatening to kill people anymore.
They look like the old school, like late night talk show hosts, that that had the pinstripe suit and tie.
Yeah, they should be going ha cha 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 cha. That's the sound they make. This is scientific fact. Don't question me.
Now, what's going on in this one right here? That is the most fascinating image right there. What he looks like he's getting a blowjob.
No, I was gonna say he looks at peace.
That too.
Yeah, he's meditating.
Yeah, there's actually somebody actually put a picture up somewhere of a lemur like meditating at a campfire. It was probably digitally altered, but
look up monkey selfie.
Well, hang on. First,
look up monkey selfie.
Hang on.
As soon as somebody tells you,
first we're gonna see the lemur meditate, and then we'll look at that. Now, is that real? Is that really happening?
Looks like
Yeah.
it.
It's really doing it.
Looks like it. You better believe it.
oh,
They actually do it. They actually, with the hands like clenched and everything.
Oh, it reminds me of that one video of a lemur getting pet by some African kids, and when they stop it, it like waves its hand to tell them to keep doing it.
Yeah, I some of my cats do that. Okay, now what monkey selfie?
Yes.
Oh, I know that lemur video. That's hilarious. Oh my God! Look
That's not as cool.
That's pretty cool. A monkey doing a selfie of itself.
Wait, which one? This one?
Yeah. That's one of them, but the other one.
That one doesn't. That one's fake.
No, that's a monkey. That monkey actually took a selfie of itself.
I don't believe it. No,
Look, right next to it. Right next to it.
What's going on here? What are they doing?
Right next to it. It's the monkey. It's the monkey holding the camera.
Oh man, where have we? What hole have we fallen into here?
Where have we gone as a society?
When monkeys can use cameras.
I'll drop a pitch here. President Ted, an alternate reality, or like where the universe was restarted by some like all-seeing time traveler entities, and instead of becoming a sociopathic killer, wanted in like multiple states, Ted Bundy successfully, runs for senator and then eventually president. And here's the catch: he doesn't have like some dark side, this go around. He's actually a benevolent president, kind of like Kennedy was. Only they frame him. They try to frame him like he's a killer. President Ted.
Okay.
Oh, you did say stupid ideas.
Yeah, based on it's not stupid though. Based on the I'll tell you the premise even, because I've had this in the back of my mind forever. Based exclusively on the premise of what that judge told him at sentencing when he said,
when the judge weirdly kisses his ass.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
it's not asking you a thing. It's a moment of clarity where he's trying to impart some wisdom. He says, it's a shame. You're a brilliant mind. You're a great lawyer, and I would have loved to see you practice in front of me, but you took a different path, pal. Too bad.
Yeah, he took a different path that was murdering girls. It doesn't the focus should not have been, no.
But
the
judge was being really
man.
No,
it's
not a thing where the judge made a mistake. He was imparting wisdom. Other people could learn some, a lesson from him saying that to him, that this is what can happen, if you resort to that kind of bullshit. Stay with something, that you can put yourself into instead of removing people from the earth.
One of the funniest.
It's much more benevolent. I take it much more benevolent than you guys do. I mean, I can't do anything about the fact that he killed people, but I'm just saying I think this is a great story idea to explore the possibility where, we got a do-over on the whole concept of history in the entire universe. And this time around, Ted Bundy made the right choice and became president. And he's not like secretly a murderer. He legitimately made the right choices this time.
I think it would be better if he was secretly a murderer, though. Like that.
Yeah, with
I don't know.
Attention otherwise.
The power of the White House.
President. Maybe as vice president.
You pretty much have to be a sociopath to become president in one way or another.
So is this the same parallel universe where Hitler avoided the terrible mistake of going to art school?
No.
Is it the same?
There
the
are
same
two
universe where
realities with Hitler doing stuff.
Same universe where Hitler.
Yeah, that's my joke. Like,
yeah.
Only assholes go to art school. Just pretending the rest of the shit he didn't do. Actually, though, if he hadn't gone to art school, maybe he would have never become a psychotic dictator. Maybe art school was the gateway drug to mass murder.
No, you know what was the gateway drug to mass murder? Criticism. Because these fucking critics came out and they were like, no, you're not actually good enough for art school.
No, you know what it actually was? Amphetamines.
Yeah, it was.
Hitler was on a shit ton of amphetamines.
God damn, man. That's the problem, is that it's like these people get into power by abusing substances because that's how they fucking network. And then by that point, they're just like tooth grindingly insane and have no dopamine receptors left.
And I can testify that when you reach that point with the uppers, I mean, it's not even fun anymore. You're just trying to stay hydrated, and it's a losing battle. So yeah, uppers. If you're gonna do downers, don't do uppers.
Yeah, I know. It's like fucking.
I was wondering the other day, like, what if Hitler, like, instead of Hitler hating like pretty much everyone on Earth other than the German people, what if he'd only hated like one guy? Like Hans, like he just hated this guy called like Hans Schmidt or something. And what if he had just dedicated his entire political career to just getting rid of Hans Schmidt instead of trying to wipe out everyone? So it would have been like, Hans Schmidt must die, and he just like went, and he would have still got elected to office and like taken over the state, but he would have put all of those resources into just getting rid of Hans. And then after he got rid of Hans Schmidt, like he just would have been happy and retired. Like, what kind of world would? Yeah, I don't know. That was my alternate reality.
That's the reason that Joe Biden ran for president, so he could get the CIA to find and eliminate corn pop.
I'm waiting for corn pop to pop up and like tell the rest of the story, because I think his brother actually, came forward and said that Joe left some stuff out. I swear he did.
Wow! Surprise!
So everyone here has heard the corn pop story, then, right?
Yeah. No. We should play it for BJ.
I have no idea.
Fucking hilarious.
Somebody educate the guy on corn pop. I can't do it. It's
no,
too
find the corn pop on YouTube.
Charlie,
it's fucking hilarious.
Charlie, you got to go. Oh.
Fuzzy butt.
All right. Do we want the cartoon version or the
Either
one
one
on the stage awkwardly with the people in the background looking at him like he's?
Do the real live one. That's fun. That one's funnier.
I don't know. I think this one's funnier.
Is a fuzzy butt.
What was that?
That's Regina dying.
Sorry, that was just me standing up.
All right, so yeah, we're starting to wind down, but Charlie, you got to go.
Stop wearing contact mics, Regina.
What's?
Oh, sorry, that was some microphone nerd humor.
I learned a lot, and I learned that
Can you hear it?
makes a difference. This was the diving board area, and I was one of the guards, and they weren't allowed to. It was a 3-meter board. If you fell off sideways, you landed on the darn cement over there. And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of boards. And I did. And back in those days, I'm sure how things have changed. One of the things you had to use, if you used pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap. And so he was up on the board, wouldn't listen to me. I said, "Hey, Esther, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off." Well, he came off, and he said, "I'll meet you outside." My car, these were all public housing behind it. My car, there was a gate out here. I parked my car outside the gate. And he said, "I'll be waiting for you." He was waiting for 3 guys in straight razors. Not a joke. There was a guy named Bill Wright, Mouse, the only white guy, and he did all the pulls. He was the mechanic. And I said, "What am I going to do?" He said, "Come down here in the basement where the mechanics, where all the pull filler is. You know, the chain went across the deep end." And he cut off a 6-foot length of chain. He pulled up and said, "You walk out with that chain. And you walk to the car and say, 'You may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your head.'" I said, he said, "No, if you don't come back." And he was right. So I walked out with the chain. And I walked up to my car. And those days, used to remember the straight razors, you'd bang them on the curb, get them rusty, put them in the rain barrel, get them rusty. And I looked at him, but I was smart then. First of all, I said, "When I tell you get off the board, you get off the board, and I'll kick you out again, but I shouldn't have called you, Esther Williams. I apologize for that. I apologize, but I didn't know that apology was going to work." He said, "You apologize to me?" I said, "I apologize for that, not for throwing you out, but I apologize for what I said." He said, "Okay," closed the straight razor, and my heart began to beat again. I came down here because I remember the first bumper sticker I saw.
The 46th president of the United States.
So from this video, like, I'm gathering there was some tradition of deliberately rusting up your straight razor before you used it to stab people.
Apparently.
Is that a thing?
Apparently. I don't know.
Just to give them tetanus as well.
That was probably a thing back in 1952 when this story apparently took place.
I guess you would want your razor to be rusty if you were going to stab somebody, right? Yeah. You would want it to be rusty so it would like infect them, right?
I think you'd want it sharp so it would stab them better, but I don't know.
Yeah, that makes no fucking sense.
Well, his brain is Swiss cheese, so he probably isn't remembering a lot of things.
People who use amphetamines to get through politics.
That's the first Joe Biden speech I've ever seen, so it's enlightening to me. Because I don't really follow American politics.
I mean, pretty much all of them are like that.
Swiss cheese. Now I'm hungry.
He'll just wander off into. Well, now when you go to the carnival and you go to one of those shooting booths, and I'm sorry, man, I don't know where I'm going with this.
Not that bad. And I've heard some pretty fucking inarticulate things come out of 45's mouth. So.
Oh no, we know that Trump is a fucking retard. It's like he just rambles with no fucking goals in mind.
I mean, you could splice the two of them together to make an endless comedy tape.
Pretty much. I mean, before the Capitol riot, the speech he gave was just him bitching about Oprah being mean about him. Can you imagine that? Like standing there listening to fucking an orange retard going on about how Oprah was mean to him, and then after that you feel motivated to storm into the Capitol and get a fucking shot in the neck for him. Oh, we just lost Ann.
Gone.
I don't think there's a motherfucker in Washington who is worth getting into an online debate over. That's how done I am with the whole thing. You know?
I'll be happy to make fun of them though, because they all suck.
But I voted twice with a clear conscience, so and I don't care what anybody thinks about it. So, but I accepted what the outcome of this election with dignity, you know, And definitely, it never occurred to me to storm the Capitol and just to make prank calls on
or to get
phone
or
or
to get
something, you know?
or to get fucking shot in the neck by Secret Service.
Yeah.
Or to or to drop your taser and tase your nuts until you die of a heart attack.
And that YouTuber Baked Alaska, you know, I mean, he's been in trouble in every state where he does those retarded in real life IRL live streams. He's been in trouble in every state. It's catching up with him so fast now. I mean, he's going to be in legal troubles for the next 20 years. And that's
Baked Alaska's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, he's even fucked with me.
What did he do to you?
Oh, that was part of the whole, like...
Did he mace you too?
No. No, it's a long story.
I need milk!
Oh, wait a minute. I want to hear this.
Yeah, let's hear this one.
Well, it's actually going in my book, and I haven't completely researched it yet. Let's just put it this way. He pestered me and Jim Goad about the whole Matt Forney /rape / other rapists. Just that whole
stuff. That has to do with him. He just has to, because there's gold. I got to stick my dick in here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's like the Beetlejuice of internet train wrecks. Like,
which Beetlejuice? The Howard Stern Beetlejuice or Michael Keaton Beetlejuice?
The Michael Keaton Beetlejuice. Like, if you say "oh fuck" 3 times, Baked Alaska just shows up.
No, but he got maced, you know, and I mean, and then he went from getting maced to like macing anyone who got within range of him, in like everywhere he went in that stupid RV. And what is that all about anyway? What's with the RV shit? What is that?
I don't know. More people should have punched him in the face.
Yeah, it basically means that Canadians are desperate for attention.
He's Alaskan, though. He's not Canadian.
Right. Sorry.
He actually is from Alaska. That's where he got the fucking name from.
Right. Sorry. I just had a massive brain fart there. I just can't stop thinking about how much I hate Canada.
So, monkeys taking selfies and corn pop and Ted Bundy is president in an alternate reality. I think we've plumbed the depths as far as we can.
Pretty much.
I still feel like there's something missing, though. I don't know what.
There's always something missing.
Probably
because our lives are empty.
Probably new metal. That's probably what's missing, the new metal. And it needs some new metal on it, yeah. Right?
Well, that's how we always end it. And no one else is talking, so I think we're done here.
Anybody got a playlist request? It has to be new metal. Anyone?
I'll play the Heavy Metal Kings song.
The what?
Play the Terror remix of Heavy Metal Kings.
I don't know that.
Just type in Heavy Metal Kings Terror remix.
That's some 2021 irony bro stuff, I can tell.
It's not irony, bro.
Maybe next week.
Well, while we're deciding what we're going to listen to, I just want to say thank you again for coming on, BJ. Everybody should go and read Our Lady of the Scythe and The Unwithering Flower and In the Court of the Mushroom King by BJ Swann.
I'm on that one now.
Please, BJ, come back on when you've got something new.
Totally.
Work.
For sure.
Yeah.
Should I end this with corn? Should I really open that door? Should I open that door?
Oh, and thanks once again for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming.
My pleasure.
How many people stay? That's weird. But
yeah, it's nice to have somebody who wants to hang out with us.
I guess I was thinking of like those talk shows where the guests just kind of hang out,
Yeah.
So it seemed like that was the natural thing to do.
Oh, this looks cool.
I feel like it's kind of a literary salon where we just hang out and talk about things going on in pop culture and books and shit, and so I feel like it's really whoever wants to stay, man.
Yeah.
Oh, new metal. All right.
I told you, new metal, man. It's happening. It's going down. There's so many to choose from. I don't.
You could play Slayer or some like good metal.
Slayer's metal. That's the thing, you know. It's got to be like all Adidas-y and like Ibanez 7-string guitar-ish, you know, for it to really be new metal. I know. I've got it.
Although Slayer sort of did a new metal album when they did God Hates Us All, because they were pretty much imitating Slipknot with that one, which was weird. I thought it was weird. I was very disappointed at the time. But
Okay.
I mean, I like Slipknot, but Slayer doing Slipknot is a very odd idea.
Did Ann leave again?
Yeah, well, she dropped, so I mean, she probably figured we're wrapping up, so she'll probably.
Hey, I do have something funny to share with you. If you want to hang around after I hit stop on this thing, Ben, you might find it funny.
Okay, sure.
If you got a few more minutes.
Yeah, I can wait.
I'm not going to play it on the air, you know, just because we've put too much time into this show for it to get taken down for something at the very end. Yeah. All right. Thank you to Edward Packard and BJ Swann for coming on, and for everybody else who contributes, and Uncle Void who helped me to reveal my true reptilian form to everyone, and Frank of Bazong for dropping by at least every few hours to check on us. Yeah. Anybody I forgot? Okay.
Good night, everybody. Good to see you again. Thank you, BJ. It was great to get to talk to you.
yeah, thanks for having me. It was cool talking to you as well.
Yeah, man.
Other than just texting on Facebook. It's good to put a voice.
Right. It's fun. It's more fun to it's enriching. It's